As you all know, I enjoy debunking charlatans more than just about anything else, and today we have a 2-for-1. We will be looking at Brett and Eric Weinstein, the self-appointed leaders of the intellectual dark web.
Oh, cool. This sounds good.
I've never debunked brothers before, so let's have some fun with it. Again, in case you've never heard the term before, these guys are prominent members of the so-called intellectual dark web, the term actually having been coined by Eric himself.
The group of people I'm increasingly hanging out with is the intellectual dark web, which is emerging.
The dark web, of course, being the place where people hire hitmen and watch kiddie porn, so it's not really the most sparkling connotation. But the deeper down the rabbit hole you go with these two, the seedier and more repulsive they seem. So,
Sounds very interesting. I will listen to it and then give my opinion and comment about what I think.
It is quite fitting. Now, if you've seen some of my recent debunks on Terrence Howard, you've heard me talk about Eric a bit already. Well, there's a lot more to discuss here today, including a special guest to help me debunk his theory of geometric unity.
Interesting.
Let's start with younger brother Brett, and then pivot to big boy Eric after that. Brett has a doctorate in evolutionary biology and taught at Evergreen State College for 15 years. He was catapulted to prominence in 2017 due to an incident on campus. Here's the popular version of the story. A protest had been held every year called Day of Absence, where minority students and faculty stayed off campus to make a statement about racial issues. In 2017, it was requested that white students and faculty leave campus instead for that year's Day of Absence. Brett vocally protested this idea, saying that you can't force people off campus just for being white. As a result, liberal SJW students threatened Brett with baseball bats, the media erupted with a story about reverse racism, and Brett became a hero overnight by standing up for marginalized white people everywhere. Of course, the reality is totally different. The Day of Absence had always been a voluntary activity where all students could attend workshops and discussions of their choosing. And this year was no different. It was simply that the locations of these discussions had changed, with the off-campus site only able to accommodate 200 people, making it obvious that it was not expected for all white students to attend, nor had all of the minority students participated in the past. None of it had ever been school sanctioned. Nobody was coercing white people off campus or making them feel unwelcome, and nobody threatened Brett with baseball bats. Brett totally exaggerated these events in his own correspondence, distorted the context surrounding those who were protesting a full 6 weeks after the Day of Absence regarding separate campus events, and instead went on Fox News with Tucker Carlson to play the victim in a story that reeks of the exact same vibe as the war on Christmas.
This year, student activists demanded that all white people leave campus or else. Oh my gosh, this is like something out of another country.
Because of the Fox piece, enraged neo-Nazi group Atomwaffen descended onto the campus, repeatedly driving by and shooting guns into the air, sending in bomb threats, and as a result, the school's graduation had to be moved off-site due to safety concerns. Brett sued the school for $3.8 million, settled for $500,000 and his resignation, and promptly began his career as a podcaster and darling of the right.
I'm troubled by what this implies about the current state of the left.
What, you think? What, you think?
Where else have we seen this story before? Yes, Jordan Peterson, frustrated academic taking a stand against PC culture, cartoonishly fabricating the implications of Bill C-16 to manufacture some kind of authoritarianism to rage against, leveraging the blowback and riding the conservative news cycle to launch himself towards a lucrative commentating career, hiding behind a false flag of free speech absolutism. It's all here, beat for beat. Brett, like Jordan, played the reluctant martyr and victim of nasty liberal academia, knowing full well that he was distorting the facts, putting students and faculty in real physical danger, many of whom were targeted with harassment and death threats from white nationalists, and he did it all anyway. He allowed Tucker to state that white people were being forced off campus, which was a lie.
The core demand is that all people of your skin color leave the campus.
He pretended protests were all about a leaked email of his rather than about the treatment of 2 black students by campus police and other social issues. which was a lie, and he kept amplifying these lies on Twitter well after the interview. Thus begins the story of Brett Weinstein, a demagogue from the start, stoking the fires of anti-woke conservative hatred for personal gain with no remorse whatsoever. Now on to the actual science denial, since that's the real focus here. During and shortly following his departure from academia, Brett gained notoriety through a series of appearances on, where the hell else, Joe Rogan's podcast. Having his web presence sufficiently amplified by these appearances enabled him to monetize something of his own. So Brett began dishing out consistently garbage conspiratorial takes about everything under the sun on his own Dark Horse podcast that he hosts with his wife Heather Haying, who also taught biology at Evergreen. Much of their rhetoric capitalizes on a perceived intellectualization of baseless anti-establishment talking points, which we will highlight where relevant. So what are the main topics he needs to be exposed for? Here's what's on the menu for the Brett half of the video. First up, Brett's attempt at revolutionizing all of medical science. According to Brett, and also his brother Eric, Brett had an astounding insight about telomeres that was stolen from him to win a Nobel Prize. To get some context, let's first briefly discuss what telomeres are. Telomeres are sections of DNA that cap every chromosome in almost all animal species. The evolutionary impetus for this is that every time DNA gets replicated prior to cell division, because of the way that replicative enzymes anneal to the template strand, the last few bases can't be read. So the new complementary strand is necessarily a few dozen nucleotides shorter than the template strand. This poses an obvious problem because as incredibly long as chromosomes are, with many millions of base pairs, thousands of cycles of replication and cell division would eventually result in important genetic information being lost, and therefore new cells that can't survive. Evolution stumbled upon a solution in the form of telomeres, which are around 5 to 15,000 base pairs long. The purpose of them is simply to act as long stretches of repetitive non-coding DNA at the ends of each chromosome, so that nothing bad happens as the tips are continually eroded during replication, and an enzyme called telomerase, when expressed, is constantly at work adding more nucleotides to the ends of each strand to keep the telomeres intact as long as possible. If the telomeres are lost completely, further replication can begin to erode actual coding DNA. All kinds of problems occur, and this is called senescence.
I remember that. I remember all that shit. I can't fucking repeat it, but I remember hearing about all that. I had to memorize it at one point enough to fucking pass the class.
Okay, so that's what telomeres are. What's Brett's big groundbreaking discovery?
I know more than this fucking guy does.
We actually have a kind of
The guy he's talking about, not Dave. He knows fucking way more technical shit than I do about it.
concern about pharmaceuticals very generally, and this arises from the fact of my graduate work. And you who are longtime fans of the podcast will know my graduate work. I happened onto what I believe is a flaw in the drug safety system. I published this flaw, and the flaw basically amounts to the mice that are often used for things like drug safety testing and other experiments having been accidentally evolutionarily modified by the breeding protocol that is used to produce them, so that their telomeres, which are these repetitive sequences at the ends of chromosomes, have been elongated tremendously, and this has potentially very large impacts. Effectively, these animals have a capacity to repair their genes. If you poison them, extremely good capacity to fix themselves, whereas we have a limited. They're bad models.
Yep. Brett says that because lab mice have longer telomeres than wild mice, all the drug testing on them is invalid, and all the drugs in the world are potentially dangerous. There is so much stupidity to unpack here. First, and the most glaringly obvious problem with this logic, is that all drugs go through clinical trials on human subjects before going to market. So it's mice first, then other non-rodent animal species, then humans.
That makes sense.
Prior to going to market, always. This fact alone renders this entire idea irrelevant and idiotic. We know what drugs do to people before people can buy them. So even if lab mice were somehow more resistant to some toxicity, we would catch it in other test subjects. Second, telomere length is just barely even relevant to what Brett is talking about. He's talking about toxicity tissue repair. All telomeres do is prolong the duration of time that cell division can occur prior to the onset of senescence.
You know,
They aren't some magic shield from every...
I don't fucking remember any of this. She just said, kind of vaguely remember the names.
kind of deleterious biological process. Telomere shortening isn't even the only cause of senescence. Telomere length also does not correlate linearly with lifespan. Mice have longer telomeres than humans do, and we live way longer than them. And lab mice don't have uniquely long telomeres.
I remember that, like when you write it down, TTHEGGGTHE.
There's so many types of tissues, from neural tissue to muscular tissue and so forth. All of this having indeed very little to do with telomeres. Telomere length does not have any impact on gene expression, its products, or its regulation.
Right, it's not the length, it's the information contained within that, like what's encoded. It doesn't matter how long it is.
Nor how toxic agents interact with the products of gene expression. A toxin that inhibits enzymatic function is not magically neutralized by telomeres. Telomeres are relevant to studies on aging and also certain kinds of cancers, but that's about it. This whole thing is just an erroneous observation extrapolated to something totally baseless, drenched in anti-pharma sentiment. It gets much worse, though. Brett pretends that this absolute nothing burger of a scientific claim was so astonishing that it was suppressed by the establishment and then subsequently stolen by a prominent researcher who used it to earn her Nobel Prize. Brett likes to retain a facade of humility whenever possible, so he needs his big brother to take the reins with this accusation, as well as gently painting Brett as some kind of mythical hero genius, and Eric does not disappoint.
In Brett's case, you probably know him, if you know him at all, as the heroic professor who stood up against what can only be described, I swear I'm not making this up, as a Maoist insurrection at an American college in the Pacific Northwest, the Evergreen State College.
Yes, he swears not making up the dumb thing he made up. A Maoist insurrection. Maoism, of course, being a form of communism marked by armed insurgency. The students at Evergreen were total Maoists, with the way they had to hide in their dorms from actually armed neo-Nazis that Brett invited to their campus with his Tucker Carlson appearance. Good God, what a pretentious douchebag.
Part of it, what happened is that you are now distorting the history of science. You have a place in the history of science that you are not taking up, you are not advocating for. There's something that you don't like about this.
Well, that's laughable. Brett has published... He's contributed essentially nothing to the field of biology. He was a teacher. But this is Eric's favorite story to tell, about his brother and himself, the revolutionary geniuses who got unfairly swept under the rug.
I know that it happened, and I know that it got buried. And I know that it's part of what I'm calling the distributed idea suppression complex, because, quite frankly, you were not the only person who was a part of this story.
Gee, can you guess who else Eric is referring to? These two are absolutely shameless. Speaking of which, shameless accusation. For context, Eric Ryder is a molecular biologist who discovered telomerase as a grad student in the 80s, and in general pioneered much of the early research on telomeres.
I'm stunned to find that our paper was turned away without review. Without review. We need your help. Can I send you the paper? Have you look at it? She says yes. And I send her the paper. And she sends back with an unbelievable number of intense criticisms that are not sensible.
Not sensible, which is code for Carol explaining to Brett how his paper sucks and him not wanting to accept reality. You can see for yourself on his paper, published in 2002, where he asserts that dynamic. This is why when experimental gerontology asked Carol to review, she panned it again. prizes like class participation trophies, the guy is beyond race and is the primary research. What if this thing in mice? Insanity.
I contacted her, talking to her, that she and Mike were about to publish their paper on prolonged telomeres of laboratory mice.
So this is the delta between wild type and laboratory mice.
Yeah. Shocked because she's told me they're keeping it in-house. I'm disturbed. This was my hypothesis that you were testing. I should probably be an author, but at the very least, I need to be an acknowledgement in this paper so that I can go.
Everything that it was a prediction. It wasn't just something. Absolutely, yeah.
Yes. His work in 2002 had terrible paper on varying telomere length in mice in the 2000s, and even alluded to it in another paper in 1990.
Grider. Biggest lecture a scientist will ever give. The lecture that filmed. And she delivers a paper in which she very oddly has now embraced my entire set of hypotheses about the effect. She has come over from the comparison between the paper of mine that she panned and said didn't make any sense. She is now a total convert to the idea that senescence across the body is being caused by Hayflick limits that are telomere based.
And Brett outs himself here. He backpedals from tissue degradation and all kinds of other unfounded claims to connections between telomeres and senescence, which nobody disputes and were already well known. This is what blogs do. They make bold, sweeping claims using specific keywords, and then they rein in these claims to reference established science with the same keywords in order to pretend that it vindicates them. The electric universe grifters use this playbook when they make up bullshit about electricity powering the galaxy, and then point at Birkeland currents as though they substantiate any of the bullshit they spew. As anyone can plainly see, this narrative attracts the people that it attracts. Littered with comments from people praising Brett for his unparalleled words they praise on Carol Greider when she got the Nobel? Of course not. They have no interest in following scientific research, and they have no idea what Brett is saying when he references scientific concepts. The allure is not bureaucracies behind it all. That's why people are here, and that's the only story the Weinsteins know how to tell. This tale continues for Brett as Republicans who are popular today with the onset of the COVID pandemic. There are three primary narratives he pushed relentlessly in this realm. The first was a cartoonish level of confidence in the lab leak hypothesis with absolutely zero evidence. The second was being one of the main players in pushing ivermectin as some kind of preventive measure for COVID, again with zero basis. And the third was jumping on the bandwagon of fabricating millions of death. Deaths from COVID vaccines. Let's take these one at a time. Since the emergence of the theories have circulated as to its origin, contradicting the widely proposed zoonotic origin, meaning arising naturally in animal populations. In this case, evolutionary processes, likely after passing through some intermediate species, such as pangolins. The more outlandish of these theories involved the notion that China deliberately created SARS coronavirus 2 quite thoroughly refuted via genomic analysis, which would require a whole video unto itself to explain. Far less conspiratorial was the notion that the virus accidentally June 2020, Brett was was on the record saying he was 90% sure this was the case.
And that theory was demonized at first. That, oh, it can't. Come on. But it is a 50-50.
This is already ridiculous. 90% sure based on what? Nothing to substantiate this, but it gets so worse. As time passed, he began to reject any data regarding zoonotic origin as a when any such papers were released, he would pretend they were government lies sent to squash the lab leak truth while people were distracted by the war in Ukraine. In conversation with Joe Rogan, he has said even crazier things, like that pandemics emerging from nature are nothing to worry about. Fatality during the Spanish flu of a century ago was due to overprescription of actually due to pesticides, and implies that most viruses are lab leaks, claiming that monkeypox shows signs of gain-of-function research. He is just completely off his rocker.
There was a enthusiasm for prescribing aspirin for people who were prescribing to people. Epidemic of polio, you have an epidemic of gypsy moths that are being sprayed for with these toxic pesticides.
The ivermectin debacle. This incident is particularly fascinating. The vaccine out. Anti-vaxxers were desperately looking for ways to criticize the administration and bypass the vaccines. Some suggested that ivermectin, an anti-parasitic drug, was miraculous in not just killing SARS coronavirus 2, but also in preventing infection. There is no clinical basis for this assertion. One aspect of this story is that it was adopted by those eager to denigrate the pharmaceutical industry for rolling out what they baselessly decided were ineffective or even harmful vaccines meant only to make money, when ivermectin is itself a pharmaceutical. So there was not even any confusion. Those pushing ivermectin wanted to stick it to the throwing their money at a random pharmaceutical drug. When medical professionals caught wind of the situation, ivermectin has any utility whatsoever in curing COVID or preventing its transmission, including Merck. In this very statement, they were instantly labeled pharma shills trying to shut down the story to maintain pharma profits by people who don't even exercise their own logic to its obvious conclusion. Anyone could make the same argument for those trying to push ivermectin, a drug that would earn pharma lots of money if the whole world started taking it. It's a breathtaking example of the hypocrisy of science deniers. Never one to miss out on some good old science-based charlatanry, Joe Rogan held an emergency podcast with Brett to get the word out on ivermectin, and he continued to push it relentlessly on his own with the help of various other fraudulent guests. Brett and his wife, who, if you recall, are highly skeptical about pharmaceutical drugs because of the mouse telomere thing, took ivermectin on the air on their own podcast.
And we are a bit skeptical of pills.
A lot skeptical.
A lot skeptical of pills.
Once again, there is no evidence of any kind to suggest that this drug has any utility in curing or preventing COVID. There is also no basis to suggest that the vaccines are more dangerous than the virus, the excuse for why ivermectin was being promoted as an alternative. Brett will use garbage fake studies like this Carvalho paper riddled with typos, which claimed 100% efficacy, and when he gets called out for it, instead of admitting it's garbage, he just says it's a little sloppy. There was another large study which had to be retracted due to plagiarism and problems with the raw data. The same can be said for any other such papers, which again would require a video unto itself to elucidate, but I'll link to some resources in the description. He also still promotes a website called ivmmeta.com, which pretends pretends to have a meta-analysis of ivermectin studies that shows it is overwhelmingly effective. In reality, it did things like multiplying together the p-values of every study, including fraudulent studies, cherry-picking endpoints, and so forth. And of course, a meta-analysis of garbage papers will provide garbage insights. It's as simple as that. Bad studies suddenly become sound when placed next to a bunch of other bad studies. The plural of garbage is not evidence. In general, Brett's narrative had long been, why are they running trials on this? And once large clinical trials were being done, came up with conspiratorial reasons to dismiss every single one. But dodging and lying about clinical data, the things Brett says to justify his position on his podcast, he says this.
The effect of the drug in question, ivermectin, comes from soil bacteria. It's not a completely synthetic molecule. Means that it is likely to be similar to things that one's ancestors have encountered before, and there's therefore a good chance that the body has a reasonably elegant way of dealing with it rather than using some mechanism that's not so great.
Brett is clearly just taking advantage of negative connotations among the public surrounding the word synthetic. Whether a drug is synthetic or naturally occurring is totally meaningless. Soil bacteria produce toxins that can kill thousands of humans per milligram. Anthrax, the Clostridium tetani toxin, which causes tetanus, or Clostridium botulinum toxin, which is the single most toxic compound known to mankind. Only the science-illiterate sector of the public thinks that natural equals good and synthetic equals bad. Any scientist knows better. But Brett isn't a scientist, and he's deliberately manipulating the public, so this is what he goes with. That a molecule never existed until humans made it does not tell us anything about toxicity, and naturally occurring compounds can be made synthetically, and they are indistinguishable. In the end, this is all just clickbait for anti-vaxxers, which exacerbates vaccine hesitancy, which in turn gets people killed. Lots of people who listened to Brett avoided getting vaccinated and died of COVID. This includes one very public case of a guy named Leslie Lawrenson who was extremely vocal about opposing the reasoning, but undoubtedly there were countless more. The combination of incompetence and results in measurable deaths. It could be considered criminal behavior. He is not just responsible for the deaths that can be directly attributed to his rhetoric, but for so many others resulted from new strains that were able to emerge because of the enormous host pool available to the novel coronavirus due to having access to so many unvaccinated people. This alone makes Brett a garbage person. Why do so many people fall for these lies? It's about the way they're packaged. He knows how to dish out the conspiratorial overtones people are looking for while simultaneously shielding skepticism. He can't argue with the fact that all research on ivermectin shows no evidence. So clinical trials must have been fake.
Something is engineering the appearance of X, Y, and Z. In other words, there's a price point. If you want something to be a fact, ivermectin doesn't work. You want that to be a fact? That's going to cost you. It can be a fact, but it's going to cost you.
Ivermectin was suppressed so Pfizer could make money.
By not doing the relevant large-scale clinical studies on ivermectin, and thus it not being approved by the FDA for use in COVID. That opens the door for EUAs, for emergency use authorization, for the vaccines that we now live in.
New Dove Men Body Wash gives you 24 hours of nourishing micro moisture. That means your skin still feels healthy and smooth now.
Bro.
There is zero epistemological consistency to any of this. When Brett wants to pretend his conjecture is supported by data, he references distorts it to pretend it's as well as any he invents threads of corruption to pretend the data is invalid. He just sculpts reality to be whatever he wants it to be in order for him to always be right, and the medical establishment always wrong. All he has to do is say government bad or pharma bad, and those who are susceptible to this will swallow any ludicrous accusation he makes. Like that, the government mandated COVID vaccines for the military in order to murder them, weed out free thinkers, and reduce military readiness, possibly having been paid off by China to do so. Yes, he actually said this.
were interested in degrading military readiness, then the mandates might persist in the military while they are withdrawn in advance of midterm elections or something like that in the civilian population.
He has also claimed that the vaccines were a net negative for everyone and had zero efficacy, despite something which doesn't even. And more recently with Tucker Carlson, he discusses the estimate by Dennis Rancourt, a full-on virus denier, of 17 million dead worldwide from the vaccine, and refers to it as careful analysis.
Like that with the technology that's dangerous.
Unfortunately, with lie that they were excessively harmful and caused so many issues, we have gotten to a point where so many charlatans have repeated this lie over and over and over again that a huge proportion of the public are simply impenetrable. They absolutely can't be convinced that they were duped.
These folks are very comfortable at saying totally false things into a camera. It doesn't cause them to think twice or sweat or anything.
There were not substantially more adverse reactions to COVID vaccines, proportionally speaking, than any other vaccine that was ever this widely distributed. Nearly all of these claims of cardiac events and deaths were completely fabricated. But because of the relentless repetition of cashing in on the paranoia, it has become reality for millions of people, and rehabilitating the public on this issue which is without a doubt the most ridiculous of them all. As of late, Brett has gone on the record supporting HIV denialism. He thinks that AIDS is not caused by a virus. It's hard to decide whether this is more idiotic than it is downright offensive or vice versa, but let's hear his justification.
Was that actually the argument against HIV being causal was a lot higher and that it being a real virus, a fellow traveler of disease, chemically triggered. That is at least a highly plausible hypothesis. And with Anthony Fauci playing his role, that was inconvenient for what he was trying to do.
He was also ignoring a very important factor in AIDS, which is part drugs.
That is the competing hypothesis. And for those who think that this is a preposterous allegation, you should look at this evidence. The evidence is compelling. And, if your mind resists that, realize that Luc Montagnier, who got a Nobel Prize for the discovery of HIV, later in life became convinced that the thing for which he got the Nobel Prize was not nearly as important as he had imagined.
That's right, party drugs, a thinly veiled reference towards the gay lifestyle. Great work, guys. By the way, Brett is constantly referencing Luc Montagnier, who got a Nobel simply for isolating HIV, and who subsequently became a full-fledged crank and a half, pushing bullshit like structured water, homeopathy, and other blatant pseudoscience. This is a fraud referencing other fraud to appear credible, nothing more. This AIDS denialism bullshit perfectly encapsulates the problem with Brett. Our understanding of HIV from the standpoint of virology is profound. We have an all-encompassing comprehension of the precise mechanism by which the virus infects T cells and damages the immune system. We have designed antiviral drugs which disrupt this mechanism to the point where we can now control the disease. Why do you think AIDS, while still serious, is no longer anywhere near as urgent an issue as it was a few decades ago? Because of the incredible science we've done to understand the virus and develop treatments for it. But all of this science is meaningless to Brett because he read some bullshit in a crappy book, or RFK Jr. said something stupid that he
What Montagnier had said, and I read Bobby Kennedy's book on Fauci.
Brett is nothing more than the clueless guy at the bar regurgitating the crap he fell for on Facebook. He just knows how to use fancy words to trick the listeners into thinking he used scientific reasoning to reach these conclusions. It's a farce. Everything. We could is out to get him. Nobody can refute anything he says, and when people regularly refute everything he says, he just refuses to engage with them. This has happened countless times with science communicators confronting him on claims regarding vaccines, myocarditis, and so forth. He feigns openness and then runs away like a coward in return, just like Eric does, as we will see in a moment. But the way he poses as an expert in the field he has made no contribution to, continually downplaying, insulting, and running away from experts in that field is nauseating. Nobody, even in evolutionary biology, the field he studies. So on biomedical topics, he really is just totally clueless, which is why he hides from the backlash of his laughable and dangerous statements. Reality has caught up with him as of late, and he's quite a bit less influential than he was a couple years ago, which is why he continues to pivot to ridiculous topics that are even farther outside of his area of expertise. Topics that just happen to fulfill the ultra-right-wing wish list. Here's a very recent interview. The obligatory wokeness rant, AI, UBI, Fauci, parenting, the dangers of pornography. And what's this? The inversion of the magnetic poles in disaster scenarios? He's pretending to understand geophysics now?
Tremendously vulnerable to EMP effects that will come with a major solar impact. The North Pole isn't always where the North Pole currently is, and sometimes these things flip. We are in the midst of what's called a polar excursion, and that pole flip threatens chaos.
Well, that all sounds pretty familiar. Where have I heard that before? Oh, right, Ben Davidson, the scientist, cosplayer, con man, and cult leader of Suspicious Observers, who I exposed the hell out of a few years back. Do you think Brett is a fan of Ben's?
Ben, I've been following you for quite some time, and I'm very pleased to finally be sitting down with you. And I'm also thrilled that you would join me for this when there's so much going on. So welcome to Dark Horse.
It would appear so. I wonder if Brett will make it out to Ben's apocalypse camp anytime soon. If you haven't seen me expose this clown, definitely give that video a watch, as it's some of my finest work. In the meantime, just marvel about the fact that there are people who can't tell that Ben's a complete psychopath just by looking directly in his eyes for 3 seconds. He is the stuff of nightmares. Anyway, that's a quick introduction to everything that's wrong with Brett Weinstein. Now we're going to pivot over to big boy Eric. But first, I have to tell you about a very important application.
What's your job? What do you do? I'm a software engineer. How much do you earn as a software engineer? Like 160.
We all want a reliable method of finding accurate information on the internet, especially when it comes to science. Google searches turn up a combination of fact and SEO-driven fiction, leaving us with more questions than answers. Direct scientific literature searches with Google Scholar or PubMed connect you to research papers, but they can be very hard to read, many behind a paywall. Thus enters Consensus. Consensus is a new wave academic search engine or to explain a topic in simple language. Whatever you need in truly any area of academic study, from economics to anthropology. Is the gut microbiome linked to depression? What's the best treatment for acne? How does a cricket chirp? Whether you're a PhD candidate in theoretical physics or just a curious Jack or Jill trying to make sense of today's news, Consensus is for you. Join over 2 million people who have Brett managed to publish 2 papers and then taught biology for a while. Eric has published nothing scientific whatsoever and has never worked with physics in any capacity. He's famous exclusively for saying things to sound smart on podcasts. Much like Brett, he spews paranoid, conspiratorial, anti-establishment tripe and complains about being overlooked by academia despite never having done anything worthy of being recognized. Of course, he continually pretends he has done something worthy of being recognized. Something revolutionary, in fact. He says he has a theory of everything, which he calls geometric unity. He first unveiled this theory when he was invited by an old grad school buddy to give a public talk at Oxford in 2013. He didn't attempt to publish anything about it, and then began complaining about how scientists wouldn't review it or take it seriously, as those scientists are in the habit of watching 2-hour-long YouTube videos instead of reading papers. When pressed as to why he refused to publish a paper about his work, he always gave one of several mutually exclusive reasons. If he published, people would steal his ideas. He can't publish because Archive only accepts academic email addresses and he doesn't have one. Academia doesn't deserve his amazing ideas. He doesn't need to publish anything. The lecture was recorded and people can just watch the video. Not to have his rightful place as the next Einstein taken from him, Eric took to creating his own version of academia on Discord, a place where he could cultivate an inner circle of blind devotees. Soon he had a community with hundreds of members spreading his gospel all over the internet. Once this had some momentum, Eric eventually did finally put geometric unity into written form, releasing it on April Fool's Day 2021 with the disclaimer that he is not a physicist but rather a podcaster, and it is merely a work of entertainment. If you ask him why he did this, he pretends that he did it to protect himself.
There are no protections inside of science for taking somebody else's work and putting another person's name on it. And
This is a good protection.
well, yeah, and I put something saying that I choose to be an entertainer rather than a scientist, and therefore it has copyright protection.
This is insane. You can't just steal the published work of any scientist. That's called plagiarism. Publishing research in respected journals is how every single scientist in the world does science. This is just his attempt to play both sides so he can appear humble towards real scientists or just stay under their radar completely while appearing clever and resourceful towards his real audience, random people on the internet. His pseudo paper is not intended for an academic audience at all. Why would he expect to be taken seriously by the scientific community when he is specifically telling everyone that he shouldn't be taken seriously? Indeed, nobody in the physics community cared at all or acknowledged him in the slightest, which Eric then pretended to be enraged about, like a little play for his fans. For years, he had been baselessly complaining about how string theory has a mafia-like stranglehold on funding in the field and aggressively shuts out alternative ideas, especially his, which is so revolutionary that it is the key to achieving faster-than-light travel and making us a space-colonizing multiplanetary species. Yeah.
Because you're saying we could get off this planet. What are you talking about in terms of the actual implementation of this theory of yours?
Despite his disclaimers, the dialogue Eric had been pretending to yearn for suddenly came. Two people from within the Discord server, a mathematician and a physicist, decided to dig into Eric's work. They published a paper discrediting it more than a month before Eric even put out his pretend paper, based on the Oxford video. These two were Timothy Nguyen and someone going by the pseudonym Theo Pollia. Eric didn't like this one bit, as it ruined his whole facade, so he began to attack anyone who acknowledged this paper, accusing them of backstabbing him, and then eliminated his critics altogether by cutting the Discord in half, banning many members, and maintaining correspondence only with his remaining acolytes, thereby enacting the precise brand of suppression he falsely accuses academia of doing. You can see just how volatile Eric would get when pressed about this paper by listening to this conversation on Clubhouse. Somebody is asking when Eric will address the criticism head on, and this is how he decided to handle it.
When we'll hear like a debate with you and Theo and Timothy about...
Sorry, who's Theo?
Timothy and Theo, they put out their retort to...
Sorry, who's Theo?
Yeah. Theo Pollia and Timothy...
Yeah, I'm not aware of Theo Pollia. Where did...
We don't know who he is. Yeah, we have
Who's
to know
Theo
who he is.
Pollia?
Do you know who Timothy Nguyen is?
Let's talk about Theo Pollia. Who's Theo Pollia?
He's the co-author from the paper.
Who is he?
Nguyen.
Yeah, who is he? I don't know.
That wasn't the question, though,
No,
right?
that is the question.
No, the question was...
No, that is the question. No, you're not understanding. No, you're not understanding me. I've never heard in the history of physics anybody expecting to be taken seriously as an anonymous critic.
As you can see, Eric fixates on the identity of Theo Pollia, cutting off the person speaking repeatedly as a way of derailing the conversation. It's irrelevant who Theo is. If there is substance to the criticism, it doesn't matter who is providing it, just like his insistence that it doesn't matter that his grand theory is coming from someone totally outside of academia. Eric should engage with the criticism, especially since the other author is not anonymous. Tim Nguyen is a mathematician with a doctorate in in gauge theory, the exact same field as Eric, and he is desperately hiding from this fact. Apart from flat out muting the person asking him about this paper, he pulls out every other excuse in the book to run away from it, from pretending it doesn't exist to making up stories about the authors being internet trolls who harassed his family and everything else imaginable.
Behavior of those gentlemen, however many there are, 2 or more, including various misogynistic comments against my colleagues, disrespecting Sabina Hoffman, who, while she may be a critic, is also a friend of mine. I'm fucking sick of these 2 people, assuming it is 2 people. Maybe it's, but we don't know what theopolia is.
Great.
So, sorry. No.
So there is a paper that was put out rebutting geometric unity, right?
No, there wasn't a paper that was regarding geometric unity. There was an attempt to publish something on the archive, which was rejected, that attempted to get in front of the draft that I put out, specifically looking at the text messages that were found on the server that supports these people to, quote, make me cry, close quote. Talking about is a phenomenon where people are trying to exploit a situation in order to make a name for themselves. And you'll notice that many people from that Discord server are trying to get people like you to react to me to name these names. No, because you're not. I'm going to mute you if you don't keep it up. All right, you're muted now. I think you're not doing what I'm saying. We don't allow people in general to go around making a name for themselves by being obnoxious, misogynistic, manipulative. It's fucking enough. You know, the archive needs 4chan.
He calls them Archive meets 4chan, as though he isn't dealing with academics far more credentialed than himself. And when the caller tries again to speak up and point this out, Eric says he has to go walk his dog.
I've been loving meal cooking lately, especially with the holidays coming up. And Instagram made it so easy. I don't have a car, so having my Instagram shopper deliver my order right to my doorstep.
May I jump real quick, please?
Actually, I'm kind of irritated. Like, I'm irritated with people. Yeah, but, like, I don't want to be subjected to this.
Okay, can I just say a couple of things really fast, though, please?
Yeah, but I'm about to go walk my dog.
The caller persists, continually saying it's about the math, and Eric just obfuscates every time. Misogyny, rape jokes, fixating on random people from Discord as a transparent way of evading the real criticism from real experts in the field.
And I'm not saying that it's them in particular. I don't care about
Who's theopolia? No, you're not understanding me yet. I'm not putting up with misogyny.
I'm talking about the
I'm not putting up with threats against my family. I'm not putting up with any of the stupid shit that server engages in. Capiche?
Great.
Am I clear?
I'm talking strictly about the math.
No, I'm talking strictly, and I said something to you. Rape jokes aren't funny. Are we clear?
Who thinks they're funny? I agree.
That server.
He tweeted endlessly about this for months, all as a method of distraction so he could ignore his critics. Then his buddy Brian Keating comes to the rescue, saying this room is for physics, not petty squabbles.
Yeah, actually, the title of the room is Let's Talk About Physics. So, I really want to stick to physics, and I want to make sure that we do have enough time to get to questions about physics. So let's move into that domain and stop talking about squabbles and so forth.
Of course, this person was trying to get more insight on Eric's physics, so it's just transparent redirection on Eric's behalf. Brian even spinelessly defends Eric's assertion that criticism is invalid when it comes from an anonymous source, and just generally shifts discussion away from pressing Eric to acknowledge the paper that invalidates his work. In fact, it's worth taking a brief aside to mention that Brian is something of a joke himself. He gets points for being an actual working scientist, and he has debunked some pseudoscience, but he's been desperately trying to join the ranks of the intellectual dark web for quite some time, promoting Eric every chance he gets, and he is endlessly sympathetic to certain types of anti-science propaganda, especially Discovery Institute, who he is always charitable towards, promoting them and leaving favorable comments on their videos, even very recently. I would bet he received some kind of compensation from them, and he even deleted a conversation he had with me on his podcast, presumably because I shat all over DI in it. All of this apart from writing an entire book whining about a Nobel Prize he didn't get and never deserved. Long story short, Brian should not be taken seriously. Now back to Eric. So let's get down to brass tacks. What is geometry all about, and why does nobody in physics care about it? Admittedly, the specifics of this are beyond my pay grade. Fortunately, we have none other than Tim Nguyen himself to walk us through the nitty-gritty. To offer some preemptive context, many of the early objections had centered around how it's not actually a complete theory. It's all centered around something called the Cheab operator, which he does not rigorously define, claiming that it was written on his notes in college, and he's pretty sure it worked, but now he can't remember it. It does not incorporate quantum theory, which any theory of everything would absolutely have to do. It is mathematically inconsistent, and there are numerous other glaring omissions that make his work both incomplete and invalid. But let's hear all this from Tim.
Tim, thanks so much for joining us. We're ready to take a little bit of an in-depth look at geometric unity, so take it away.
Great. Yeah, glad to be here, Dave. What I have here on the whiteboard is a display of the two papers in question. There's Eric's paper on the left, his geometric unity paper that he released on April 1st of 2021. And then there's my response paper, which I wrote with Theo Polia, my anonymous co-author, back in 2021. It predates the geometric unity paper because it was based on his lecture that was on YouTube that was recorded in 2013. Nevertheless, it contained all the essential details, but just for the sake of history, that was what the material that the response paper was based upon. Anyways, let's just go ahead and dive in with that context. Before I go into the details, let me first just give a quick overview of what a theory of everything is, because remember, Eric's theory claims to be a theory of everything, so I thought I should at least clarify what exactly that means before I show what's wrong with it. So, very quick crash course here. So let's recall that in physics, we have four forces.
Yeah, you would have to fucking combine all four of the forces and gravity, and define quantum gravity pretty much.
Nature, we have the electromagnetic force, the weak, the strong, and also gravity. So I've written these forces over here. And what does it mean to be a theory of everything? Well, you want to be able to unify all these forces. And unfortunately, right now, that's not the case. Right now, we have a unification of the first three, electromagnetism, weak, and strong. And those are unified in what's called the standard model. That's what's here on the left. And the standard model is quite intricate. It has all these particles, which you can see there on display. But famously, it doesn't include gravity. And so part of the problem is finding a model that would incorporate...
Wait, did I say forces, the four, and gravity? I meant, yeah. Gravity is the fourth. It would have to be included.
And the other piece of the puzzle is that you also have to include quantum theory.
Yep.
And that's also very difficult.
That's what I was saying. You gotta combine all four. Quantum theory, in gravity, and quantum.
The standard model is a quantum field theory, so we don't have a problem there. But unfortunately, we don't know how to combine gravitation with quantum theory. Gravity right now is described by Einstein's general relativity,
Getting close.
which is a classical theory, but we don't know how to combine it with quantum theory. So we don't even have a satisfactory quantum theory of gravity. So solving that and combining it with the three other forces is going to be very difficult. But that's just to illustrate the challenge.
Just to clarify for the viewer, right? When we're talking about combining these, like for example, electromagnetism and the weak force, right? They have electroweak, and then they predicted particles, and they went to the particle accelerator and found the W and Z bosons and stuff. So it's not like just it's not like a flight of fancy, right? We're talking about actual, real empirical science unifying these forces to get closer and closer to like earliest epochs of the universe, like that kind of thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, of course, the standard model is one of these very well tested and validated models. Of course, it's not complete. There are still some mysteries. It doesn't include, dark matter and things like that. It's been empirically validated.
Doesn't
We're
include
trying to
dark
extend
matter.
what we have with these three to that last fourth one, basically.
That's right. I mean, so right now we have sort of two separate theories or models, let's say, which is the standard model and Einstein's general relativity. And the standard model is already a quantum field theory, but general relativity is not. That's sort of the lay of the land. Yep. And maybe just one last ingredient, which is that the standard model is what's called a gauge theory. Gauge theory basically means there's a gauge group lurking in the background, and the gauge group is a symmetry group. And in physics, symmetry is very important. And it basically, in this case, describes how the internal states of particles have certain symmetries. And so that's just a very kind of important mathematical aspect of theories. And that's why you have a gauge theory, because these particles have symmetries. And so, Eric and myself, we're both trained as mathematical gauge theorists. And so, this is how the gauge theory occurs in the physics, because the standard model is itself gauge theory. Yep. Okay, well, let's go ahead and dive right in. We have, in my paper, stated 4 objections to Eric's theory. So Eric's theory claims to be the theory of everything, and it's also a gauge theory. That's how it relates to the previous slide. But I'll just go ahead and quickly state what the objections are. The first objection, in some sense the most fatal, as it were, is that there is no Shiab operator. So in Eric's work, he introduces this Shiab operator, and Shiab is an acronym for ship in the bottle, and it's an operator that appears in these equations of motion. So in physics, we have equations of motion. Like in high school physics, you studied Newton's laws, and the second law is the statement that F equals ma. That's an equation of motion, right? And as you progress through physics, you have more and more sophisticated equations of motion, and this Shiab operator is the one that occurs in Eric's work. And the objection here is that, Eric claims that there is this Shiab operator, and I was able to show that the definition he tried to invoke to show that there exists doesn't hold. So basically, if you can't construct this operator, if you can't construct the operator, then your equations of motion don't make any sense. So basically, this whole theory doesn't even have this equation, right?
It's just a magical thing that he's referenced. Exactly. Isn't actually real. Got it.
That's right. Yeah, and if for those who want to go into more mathematical detail, I have this long 2-hour lecture, the Eigenbros podcast, which you can find on YouTube, where I go into pretty concrete details.
I'll definitely link to that. Yeah, I'll let everyone know.
Yeah, and it's actually quite well. I made it concrete in that I explain the essential details of why this fails into 2x2 matrices. So there's a simplification in terms of that, so people can understand 2x2 matrices. Anyways, so that's that. Okay, so objection 2 is that there is a gauge anomaly. So when when we quantize a theory, that is when we take a theory that's classical and try to convert it to a quantum theory, that's what quantizing means, we have to show that certain anomalies vanish. Okay? So that's just something you, typically want to show that these things called anomalies vanish. And in the case of a gauge anomaly, the reason you want the gauge anomaly to vanish is that if it doesn't, then you lose gauge invariance. The symmetry that I said was very important. Okay, and what we show in our paper is that GU has a gauge anomaly due to the choice of gauge group that Eric makes, and that leads into this fatal situation where you have this non-vanishing gauge anomaly, and so you don't have a quantum theory. So that's the second objection that we have. The third objection that we have goes under the heading of dimensionality and supersymmetry constraints. And the way you can think of that is that GU specifies incompatible structures. Okay, so Eric's theory lives in a 14-dimensional space. He claims to have various supersymmetric extensions. So supersymmetry is this extra structure you can have that relates fermions and bosons. It's quite intricate. But anyways, at a high level, when you specify these structures, you have to have certain particles. You also have to have an infinite dimensional gauge group in this case. And all of these extra structures are contrary to what Eric set out in his work. So basically, he sets up structures that are not compatible. And that's the third objection that we have. And finally, there are numerous additions in the work. That was already evident in the lecture itself. And the unfortunate thing is that in the write-up that he had, he makes it also very evident that there are lots of missing details. Here are just two representative quotes that you can find in his work, and I highlighted the parts where he blatantly admits that he doesn't have the notes anymore for the claims he's the claims that he's made.
I thought of it, but I forgot. But it totally worked. Trust me.
Yeah, exactly. So going around asking everyone to follow his work, but then finally, when asked to provide concrete details, he can't provide them. Right? So quite unfortunate. Okay, so that's the gist of our rebuttal for geometric community.
Awesome. Cool. So to summarize, would we say that it is doesn't qualify as a theory, or it does but is merely unsubstantive, or would we say it is flat out wrong, or all of the above? How would we, in a sentence, qualify this?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically not even cognitive work, right?
Mm-hmm.
His GU paper is 69 pages. There are lots of constructions and mathematical fragments, but because there are so many missing details, and because of the problems that I already elucidated, it's hard to see what value there really is. It's just a very incomplete work, to say the least.
Perhaps we'll call it WIMBY based on mathematical competence. Something like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, thank you for that. That is definitely an eye-opener.
Are you worried that?
No, I'm not. I'm not all worried about whatever you're fucking saying, dude. I don't know anything about that shit. Shut up. What is this? No. Okay, it's not over.
That is definitely an eye-opener. Well, there you have it. GU is junk. This is the primary lens with which we can view Eric Weinstein. He wants to be the next Einstein. Despite the similar last name, he isn't. But to him, it's enough to be perceived as such by the public. So what does he do? He avoids publishing anything for a decade to shield himself from criticism. He knew it would never pass peer review, so he simply attacks the concept of peer review every chance he gets. When he eventually does put something out after immense pressure and legitimate criticism is immediately provided, he ignores it, lashing out at anyone who mentions it, inventing elaborate narratives of harassment and unsavory behavior as though that would invalidate the math, even if it were true. Eric knows his reputation can't rely on GU alone, so he frequently
wraps himself up as an internet guru, making bullshit claims about having predicted important events and technologies. He wrote a short blog post in 2010 called Go Virtual Young Man, which can be summarized as, the internet is cool. He references this blog post to pretend he predicted any number of things, like cryptocurrency, without any basis whatsoever. He wrote a run-of-the-mill finance paper in 2002 and uses it to pretend that he predicted the 2008 crash. It's all smoke and mirrors. Because Eric can't bear to face a reality where he isn't actually the world's premier intellectual, but rather just some guy with a doctorate and intellect, he regularly resorts to paranoia and conspiracy. Here he is talking about the government being out to get him.
You know that the first person outside of me to get a look at geometric unity was Jeffrey Epstein. How did he know I was working on this? I don't know. I wasn't really talking about this stuff until, even my close friends didn't really know what I was up to. It's really weird when the government is actually out to get you, when they actually send a spy, when they actually engage in disinformation campaigns, when they smear you. I'll tell you why I built my channel. It's going to be a lot harder to roll me this time in an alley. I got rolled multiple times, and my point is, I didn't want to become a celebrity. I didn't want to become well-known. But it's a lot harder to roll somebody who's getting, I don't know if this is a mistake, but I think I'm the math PhD with the largest number of followers on Twitter. So when I get banned on social media because somebody wants to make sure that my message doesn't interfere with the dominant narrative.
My favorite is the part where he claims he never sought fame. That's literally the only thing he's ever really sought. That's why he goes on podcasts instead of doing physics. That's why he puts more effort into crafting his persona and fabricating aspects of his origin story than actually doing anything productive. He makes claims that the FBI has followed his family. He makes up stories about Jeffrey Epstein. Here he is on Rogan complaining about Harvard burying his work.
Harvard University told me, to remain in good standing in this program, you cannot live in Massachusetts. Harvard has a program for how it gets rid of people it wants to get rid of who are in good standing. It makes them move. It makes them move so that they can't complete their thesis. I had effectively gotten on the wrong side. I proposed some equations that I was told were insufficiently nonlinear. Never mind what that means. The story of a guy who was not allowed to attend his own thesis defense. To any academician, you hear it like, what do you mean you weren't allowed to? You present your thesis. No. I was not allowed in the room of my own thesis defense.
So this is why Harvard wanted you to move out of state.
Another victim of evil academia, just like baby brother Brett. The claims here are endless. He says that he was prevented from presenting his own thesis defense, something never done in the history of the world, when in reality it was just reviewed as a committee, the usual practice of the Harvard math department. This paranoia extends to his wife, Pia Milani, as well. Eric co-wrote 2 chapters of Pia's doctoral thesis in economics by essentially just applying gauge theory to a problem in economics, thereby re-deriving an inflation index that already exists. He routinely refers to this work as revolutionary, even though absolutely nobody cares about it, which is confirmed by the practically non-existent citations.
Pia Milani's thesis revolutionized all of economic theory, and it hasn't been understood. To do something revolutionary, I promise you that's been it's an arbitrage. I can share it with the world. Nobody will do anything with it because the world decided to stand in the way of that progress. That's an incontrovertible fact.
Fortunately, our friend has debunked this claim as well, so why don't we check in with him for another tidy refutation of Eric's inflated claims. Okay, so we're back with Tim, and now let's take a look at some of this economics work as well. Take it away again, Tim.
So also in 2021, Eric went out on a limb to promote his work on economics and gauge theory. That's sort of the short title here of this somewhat long title of this paper. He gave a talk at the University of Chicago in November 2021, sort of under the same pretext as with his physics lecture. Basically, other scientists don't know what they're doing. If only they understood this gauge theory, yoga that I know and nobody else knows. they would have their eyes open to this revolution, right? And this work is also joint with his wife, Pia Milani, who wrote her dissertation back in '96 at Harvard, where she combined gauge theoretic ideas into her economics PhD, thinking about economic indices and inflation and all that. Anyway, so this is sort of like a reboot of that program. So in this case, he actually wrote a paper, and so I was able to actually write a proper response because it was actually a paper this time, a video. And this paper is now in the archives. So people can also being in the archives is more official. It was the archive is moderated, and this paper did go through that moderation.
Yeah, it's a legitimate source of information.
That's right. Okay. And in this case, it's also just by me, no anonymous co-author. Okay. Anyways, so let me kind of also just summarize some of the problems with Eric and his wife's work. So let me start off real basic, which is that the work makes a lot of very simplistic assumptions, which is quite unfortunate. You're going to make this claim that it's revolutionize economics. In this case, Eric went on Brian Keating's podcast and said that this work was the most important work in mathematical financial economics in the last 25 to 50 years, right? So when you make so many simplifying assumptions, it kind of really dilutes that claim. But let me just give you one representative such assumption. So here on the right here, I have what's called an indifference curve. And that's a curve that economists use to describe what an agent person might consider equivalent sets of goods, right? That's why they're indifferent to which they obtain. So in this case, if there's two goods, good one on the x-axis, say apples, and good two on the y-axis, say oranges, then maybe this point is one. So that's a basket of one apple and one orange, and over here is maybe a quarter of an apple and four oranges. So maybe for this person, they value one apple and one orange the same way they would value a quarter of an apple and four oranges, right? Same with other points on this hyperbole. Anyways, so one of the things that Eric assumes in his paper is what's called completeness. He assumes these indifference curves are complete, meaning that they can't just abruptly end. Okay, so these curves have to go off to infinity. And if you translate that directly into what does this really say, one of the consequences is that it's impossible to value zero of the good, right? Because this curve shoots up to infinity. This hyperbola shoots up to infinity if you let, say, good one go to zero. Right. So I can't have a basket of I refuse to have zero apples. Right? If I have zero apples, I have to have an infinite number of oranges to compensate, which is also impossible. Right? Yeah. Exactly. Right. So maybe this is nice for mathematics, but somehow in real life you're forbidden to have zero, which seems a little bit drastic. Anyway, so that's just kind of one representative assumption. But okay, let's just roll with it. But anyways, I thought that this was sufficiently common that it would be good to at least have this example. So anyways, this slide is just a snapshot of these two conjectures that Eric has in his paper. And they're very technical, so we're not going to go and try to unpack them. But the point is that in my response, I show what's wrong with them, essentially. So, for example, this conjecture 1, what I show is that it's actually false. And it's false in a very simple way. Basically, he sets up all this structure, as you can see there from all the notation. And what I showed is basically the simplest thing you can write down, what's called the trivial connection. Gauge theory. That satisfies his list of properties. Right? So sort of like the simplest thing you can write down actually satisfies it. So it's kind of strange that you would state this conjecture. The simplest thing you can think of once you know the setup also satisfies it. So basically it's sort of obfuscation. And then the second thing that I have here, I show that it's a tautology, and that this conjecture basically says two things are equal, but how do I say? If you know enough gauge theory, you'll see that they're equal, and he basically spent all this time setting up all this notation, obscuring, the simple ideas, and so it's sort of all the work that goes into unpacking what he did, at the end of the day, once you actually unravel all the terms or notation, the thing that he's actually claiming is essentially like a well-known fact. It's basically, writing 1 + 1 = 2 in the most complicated way possible. Right?
Long-winded, superfluous, obscure verbiage from Eric Weinstein. I don't believe you.
Right. What a surprise, right? Yeah. So anyways, that's basically the content of my paper.
Got it. So it sounds like you said November of 2021. It sounds like in the wake of geometric unity flopping completely, he said, what? Why don't I pivot over to this new thing, and where economists don't know gauge theory, and I can see if I can trick them, pretty much. Yeah,
that's right.
Well, great, thank you. I think both of these segments have been very elucidating. I will definitely encourage viewers to go check out longer lectures on these topics if they want to get more into the nitty gritty of the math. But I think this is very helpful for the average viewer and is pretty self-explanatory.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, that was even worse than GU. How does Eric keep a straight face when he calls this work revolutionary? But not just revolutionary, he claims that it is Nobel-worthy. That's right. According to Eric, he and his brother and his wife all deserve Nobels. But they'll never get them because of various big, bad, evil something or other. Pretty incredible coincidence, don't you think? In this case, according to Eric, his wife's Nobel-worthy work was suppressed by Harvard because it posed a threat to something called the Boskin Commission, which was conspiring to come up with a fake adjustment to the government's methodology for calculating the price index in order to subvert democracy and save money on Social Security payoffs against the will of the people.
Was that the Boskin Commission, 1996, tried to figure out how to cut Social Security and raise taxes without getting caught. Because that's the third rail of politics. And what they said is, if we change the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, the way we measure inflation, because tax brackets are indexed, and because entitlement payments for Social Security and Medicare are indexed, if we claim that inflation is overstated by 1.1 percentage points, we will gain $1 trillion in savings.
But that's not all. Apart from being suppressed, it was also stolen by physicist Juan Maldacena. Juan Maldacena, you will find only one podcast that he's ever been on, and that is the Into the Impossible podcast. If you look up gauge theory and an intuitive way to understand gauge theory, something like that, you'll come up with this really brilliant economic analogy that sounds like Eric is copied from Juan Maldacena. This is Eric's this gauge theory applied to economic transactions. Eric and Pia Milani, of course.
Knew that we've gotten this. Knew about Pia Milani.
Funny how an idea can be both suppressed and plagiarized at the same time, huh? The old hide away, but also steal and shove. Seems like the script of choice for both Weinstein boys. So to reiterate, Eric deserves the Nobel. His wife deserves the Nobel. Brett deserves the Nobel. Even Brian Keating deserves the Nobel. But all of them were horribly betrayed and shortchanged by evil academia because of blah, 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 shoot me in the face. This persecution complex is something that all false prophets have in common. If Eric's work was worth anything, professionals would care about it and expand upon it. So to undercut this obvious logic, he pretends he is being suppressed. He invents concepts and cute acronyms like the intellectual dark web and the distributed idea suppression complex to manufacture an identity of the brave truth teller fighting the establishment. The hero battling against dark forces trying to neutralize his genius at every turn. He is nothing but a fame junkie, spewing anti-establishment tropes the public wants to hear, manipulating a cabal of podcast hosts to promote himself and aid in suppressing any dissent from his dogma. Ironically, the thing he pretends to criticize academia for. He really is no different from Terrence Howard in spirit. Both pretend to have revolutionized physics and see themselves as the most brilliant person alive. Eric may be closer to that than Terry, but they're both still completely full of shit. Eric is much more dangerous, though, because he has a better ability to appear credible, and thus his lies on topics relevant to the public gain more traction. Like Brett, he has a host of garbage takes on COVID and vaccines. He denies the genocide in Gaza, and his endless rhetoric railing against the university system, peer review, and established physics goes a long way in fostering anti-science sentiment. Is there anything Eric is actually good at? It seems like he's good with money. From 2013 to 2022, he was a managing director for Peter Thiel, which is not the same as a hedge fund manager and is more or less an empty title, but he had to have offered some kind of value to be on the payroll. Although perhaps even this is a facade? Perhaps his sole function for Thiel was being the internet bullshit artist that he is. Thiel is a highly prominent, insanely wealthy anarcho-capitalist who actively seeks to undermine established academic and federal institutions. Eric is someone who relentlessly manufactures uncertainty and instability in these institutions on social media. Is this what Eric was paid by Peter to do? Wage Peter's culture war while he sits in the shadows? Eric has the resume for the job. He does understand math and physics, which gives him the ability to describe standard graduate level math and physics textbook information to sound intelligent, and then sprinkle in whatever anti-establishment rhetoric he desires to give the illusion of being a purveyor of hidden knowledge. This is genuinely all that Eric does. He's not an academic. He doesn't do research. He doesn't publish. He doesn't teach. He talks. And boy, does he talk. He uses as many big words as possible, but says very little. He uses podcast appearances to explain concepts in as convoluted a way as humanly possible, appealing to props and analogies that make no sense whatsoever, and then pats himself on the back for his explanatory ability. He talks to Terrence Howard for 4 hours and fails to explain how Terry is wrong in a way that the listener can understand even a single time. This is the essence of Eric Weinstein. Circling back now to the brothers as a pair, they really do have a lot in common. They use the same general formula. Academia, bad. I got degrees from bad academia, but I am good. I'm a genius in my field, even though I don't actually do research or publish anything, having zero accolades or respect among scientists in my field. But that's because they're jealous of my brilliance, so they try to suppress my work and also steal it, which are the precise opposite of each other. All the nothing I've done should earn me a Nobel Prize, and if you disagree, you're just an establishment shill. Sadly, this formula does work on a lot of people. That's why figures like the Weinsteins become so popular. They trigger something psychologically in a certain type of person. There are those who are hostile towards knowledge and academic success, so seeing an allegedly knowledgeable person share their disdain for institutions of knowledge can feel validating. Whatever the case may be, there are a few obvious threads of logic that sorely need to weave their way into the collective consciousness, or we will forever be falling for frauds like these. First, when Weinstein-like figures present their narratives, they should be met with intense skepticism. It's not that nobody outside of academia could ever possibly contribute to scientific progress, but it is exceedingly rare in the 21st century, and almost every single such person who claims to have done so is full of shit. People outside of science who claim to have revolutionized science have a very bad track record of being lying, manipulative frauds. This goes even more so for those who spend most of their time amassing a following and talking on podcasts. They avoid engaging with researchers who they claim are their peers, and instead engage with the general public who have no shot in hell at understanding what they are talking about. This is the second point that must be understood. If you are not well versed in a particular academic subject, at least at the level of a bachelor's degree, you will not be equipped to gauge the veracity or the relevance of what these figures are talking about. This is by deliberate design. They will convince you that they are explaining it so masterfully that you are simply comprehending frontier theoretical physics as well as experts in the field. But you aren't.
Maybe we can get some pizza or some chicken.
Church is fair. Let's keep it real. A church is rural boys.
It's like pretending that you can suddenly know an entire foreign language from watching a 3-minute YouTube video. It just doesn't work that way. These figures say things they know that 99.9% of the people listening do not understand, and they say them with extreme confidence to project an air of legitimacy and intellectual superiority. This resonates with a large proportion of people, as ultimately we are all in a way still primitive primates roaming the savannah, looking for a strong leader to guide the tribe. We find peace and satisfaction in relinquishing our critical thinking skills and letting the strong, loud alpha male do our thinking for us. Demagogues and cult leaders are tapping directly into this phenomenon when they preach. So when they present their realities, be skeptical. Be skeptical of everything. It's okay to be skeptical of the government and of large corporations or anything else, but also be skeptical of individuals who present themselves as heroic whistleblowers and Luke Skywalkers. Governments can lie. Individuals can lie too, and the person or group that is contradicting well-understood and well-established science is far more likely to be the one who is lying. It's very easy to spin an anti-establishment narrative that sounds cohesive because people are primed to distrust institutions. Everyone needs to be similarly primed to distrust individuals who make these outlandish claims. Everyone in academia is corrupt? Really? Every last academic in the entire world? Or maybe the singular person spinning that narrative is a lying fraud shielding themselves from criticism by anyone with relevant expertise. Weigh for yourself what is more likely. It's almost always the latter, and these people must be exposed, such that they will stop defending them, stop amplifying their rhetoric, stop supporting them on Patreon, because only then will they slowly fade away. There are so many more figures like the Weinsteins that need to be similarly exposed, and perhaps I'll get around to a few of them. Perhaps I'll even circle back on these two, since there is so much that we didn't sufficiently expand upon in this video in the interest of time. But hopefully, for anyone who made it through this video, if you previously had a soft spot for either of these guys, that is now congealed into the appropriate sentiment, which is disgust and contempt. So that's it for the Weinstein brothers and their adorable Nobel aspirations. I've been promising this one for a while, so let me know in the comments if you enjoyed it, and if there are other similar figures you think I should tackle next. I'll see you next time.
Okay. Play some Brad video. What's he gonna do about it? Nothing. That's what.
Thanks, Jeff, for that intro song. Hey, everybody, this is the Snowplow Show. Oh my God, what the fuck? A call's coming in right now? I swear, I just started recording and a call's coming in from the area I was calling yesterday. Hello.
Hello?
Hi.
Oh, Frank?
What?
Frank?
Spank?
It's Frank. Can I speak with Frank?
Oh, yeah, this is Frank. I thought you said Spank.
I'm sorry, Roy.
Yeah, hey, it's Roy. Why'd you say Frank? Are you sure you didn't you didn't say Spank?
No, I didn't say Spank.
Okay, that'd be weird. I don't even know you, lady.
Oh, wait. Am I calling the wrong number?
No, my name's Roy Gerbel.
But is Frank there?
No, there's no Frank here.
Just Roy?
You've reached a prank call show. I'm actually recording the intro right now.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm trying to reach Frank.
No, I don't like. I was prank calling people in your area. I recognize your area code.
Oh.
Yeah.
Prank calling. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was just prank calling people. I don't know what I was gonna say to you. It's probably gonna tell you to cut down a tree or something.
Oh, okay, cool.
Speaking of trees, today's show is sponsored by Dick Tree, KC Deeply, Unavailable Restaurant, Shrink Man, and Hayland 6969. They're the sponsors of today's show.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Why don't you go? Cool. We'll tell Frank to go pound some sand, maybe up his ass. Thanks.
Wow. What the hell was that? I don't think I said my name was Frank yesterday. So yesterday I did a live show. I did it on Twitch and Shoutcast, and I called up a bunch of people in that area, and for some reason she really hates a guy named Frank. I don't get it. She told Frank to pound sand. Anyway, I'm going to play that live show for you right now, right after this very important drop from Terry.
I'm stuck in this tin can, and all I have got to listen to is this prank call show. The Snowplow Show. It's a lie. It's not about snowplows, it's about prank calls.
Roy the retarded boy. Wow.
I have no ideas for tonight, really. Basically, I'm just going to call up people in my request folder. Most of them, I think most of them are going to be Nick, the ones that Nick sends in from next door. Thanks again for that, Nick, because they're all in the same state or the same city-ish. I have a local number there. It all works out, but I think someone told me it says scam likely whenever it gets called, so I don't know.
Hello?
Hello. Hello, Laura. It's your neighbor. It's Brad.
Oh, okay.
Whoa. Yeah. How are you doing?
Okay.
That's good. I'm going to be coming over there tonight to do metal detecting. I just wanted to let you know so you weren't concerned if you saw me out there walking around your yard with a BB stick.
Okay.
It's going to be pretty late, though. Like, late.
Okay.
Like 2, 3, 4 in the morning.
Oh.
Metal detecting. Okay. I'll be out there metal detecting and digging. When I find metal, I've got like a little shovel.
Is it going to disrupt the grass?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's what digging is. Like, I'm putting a hole in there, like puncturing it.
I'm gonna be digging. Is that gonna disrupt the grass? Yeah, that's what digging is. You're gonna be digging. While you're digging, will the digging disrupt the grass? No, heck no. You can dig holes in the yard without disrupting a blade of grass. Totally, you can.
Well, I would rather not put a hole in the grass.
Then I pull the grass up, and then I dig even further until I sift through all the dirt, and I look for the metal.
No, that's not okay.
Every once in a while, I find a penny that's really old.
I don't want you doing that.
Well, it's just going to be in the middle of the night, so it's fine.
I don't want the digging in the grass.
Well, I'm going to put it back how it was. I'm just saying that initially, I'm going to be puncturing through the ground and ripping that top layer of grass off and digging.
I would rather you not.
But then I'll put it back down exactly how I saw it.
It doesn't matter. I would rather you not do it.
But I'm just looking for treasure and stuff, and if I find anything, like maybe you've lost something before, and it's out there.
No, I really would rather you not do it. I'm saying no to doing it.
Can I do your neighbors on either side of you?
I don't know. You'd have to ask them.
Well, what if I just kind of accidentally wander into your yard while doing theirs?
I don't want you to. I will call the police.
What about
I really don't. I don't want you to, okay?
Just like the edge of the lawn. I'm not gonna. Like, what are you hiding in your lawn that you don't want me to see?
Nothing. But I don't want somebody going on our yard like that.
You're just being kind of sketchy.
I have a right.
I bet you're being a little bit sketchy about the whole thing.
Tough. Do not do it. Bye.
Wait, what was that word? Cuss? What was that, you guys? I did not understand that word. Pause? Tough. Thank you, Mullen Wolf. She said tough. She was almost like that previous guy. She did not care. She's like, yeah, do whatever you want. I had to talk her into not wanting me to do it. Mildred wants me to say mention ground penetrating radar. Hold on, let me write that down. All pranks are better when you mention ground penetrating radar, in my opinion. Thank you. So nobody else is on right now, right? Like no other prank call shows? I don't want to go on over anyone. I don't want any trouble. Last time I went over Tom, he like prank called me for a week at my house. I don't want that again, Tom. Don't do it.
Craig speaking.
Hey, Craig. It's your neighbor. It's Roy.
Yes.
Hi. Hey, I just had a small problem.
Okay.
I was in your backyard and I buried a 5-gallon bucket back there a few years ago and it's gone now. Like, did you dig that up by chance?
Where are you located?
Well, I'm at home right now. But I live over on Lily Drive. Lily Drive.
What drive?
Lily Drive.
The answer is no, but there was a time when did you do it?
I buried it down there maybe 6 years ago.
Yeah, we had stuff done, so maybe the contractors, I don't know.
Well,
why would you do that?
Well, there was valuable stuff in it. It was just a 5-gallon bucket.
No, but why would you bury it on my property?
Well, I'm not going to bury it on mine. It's filled with CDs.
Okay.
Is it right under those trees back there?
Yeah, I don't have it.
Come on, like, are you just wanting to keep it for yourself?
I don't listen to CDs.
Yeah, well,
anymore.
No, they're not for me to listen to. They're collector's items. It's a bunch of Kenny Loggins' greatest hits.
All I can tell you is all that stuff was dug up by contractors, and
well, they had no right to do that. Why wouldn't you tell them not to do that? It's my stuff.
Okay, I gotta go.
Why? Where are you going?
Sorry.
You gonna go sell my CDs on eBay? Fucking thief. Vista Blue said to say that I buried my Kenny Loggins CD. Frickin' Craig. What's weird is that the name of his street is the name of his wife also. So did they name the street after her? Or did they move there because they wanted to live on a street that had her name?
Hello?
Hey, Daniel?
This is?
It's Brad, your neighbor.
Who?
Brad. I'm with the homeowners association.
Oh, hi.
But I'm also your neighbor. I live just a few blocks over.
Yep.
Hey, I'm going to be using your freezer. I've got a turkey. It's a frozen turkey. Do you have like a deep freeze, like an extra deep freeze?
An extra deep freeze?
Yeah, or just, extra freezer. I need to keep...
we got just...
What?
Just our freezer, that's it.
Oh, okay. Well, do you have room in there? It's just one turkey, and we're just going to have it in there until about 3 days before Thanksgiving.
Our kitchen freezer is pretty much...
Well, what's in there? What's in there? Is it just packed with junk?
Is it packed with junk?
Well, I mean, what is it? Is it like a bunch of, like, kids stuff? Like, is there anything you can eat to make more room?
For a turkey?
Yeah. It's not a huge turkey. It's like it's on the small side. I have a small family.
Dude, there's no way a turkey's going to fit in my freezer.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe it's time to clean out your freezer so I can fit this in there because I need a place to keep it. And
Dude, you telling me to clean out my freezer? I don't give a fuck where you put your turkey.
Oh, well,
You're telling me to clean out my freezer to fit your fucking turkey in it?
You should care if I'm going to be keeping it in your freezer.
What do you mean you don't? In my freezer.
Yes, I'm on the HOA board.
I don't give a fuck.
You're renting from us. Like, I'm going to use your freezer. I need it. Mine's already taken up.
Dude,
like my fridge and my deep freeze.
You are a fucking freak. Goodbye.
What are you talking about? I'm on the board. That was Tim Riggy's idea. He did not like that. I might do that. I don't know. That sounds a little threatening. I'm going to ask a lady that lives alone if I can make a molding of her face for my lamp. A sweet old lady. Let's call Anna. Let's see if Anna sounds frail. If she does, I'm going to demand a molding of her face. Tell her she gets a straw for a breathing hole. Good idea, Tim Riggy.
Hello?
Anna?
Yeah?
Anna?
Who's calling?
It's Roy, your neighbor. Down the hall.
I think you have the wrong Anna.
I live on Lane. I'm your neighbor.
Okay.
I'm in number 42.
But there is no down the hall.
Well, you know what I mean by down the hall. I call it the hall. Even though it's more like just a sidewalk.
Okay. How are you? Good.
Oh, I'm pretty good. How you doing?
I'm okay, but I really don't know who you are.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know you either. Yeah, just call and say hello, and stuff. Hi.
Which unit do you live in?
This is awkward. Listen, I just need to borrow your freezer. Can I borrow your freezer? Just till Thanksgiving. I need a place to keep my turkey.
I don't have a freezer.
Yeah, but is it full? Like, is there a lot of stuff in there?
Sure is.
How much do you clean out? Like, I'll help you clean out your freezer.
I don't really throw this away.
You probably have. Let's me go away. I really wanted to do the face mask thing to her, and I couldn't do it. Can't ask a frail old lady if to make a mold of her face. Why would I do that, Tim Riggy? So I did the non-creepy thing of demanding her freezer from her.
Well,
Hey, James.
oh, what's happening?
Not much. What are you doing?
Oh, your name didn't come up on my screen when I answered.
Oh.
I'm watching Tigers game.
Oh, me too.
Oh, where you at?
I'm on my lawn.
Oh, who is this?
It's Roy. Who'd you think it was?
I didn't know who it was. Roy?
Yeah.
Oh, I think. Oh, you wanted to talk to Dean?
No. Why would I talk to Dean? It's James, isn't it?
Yeah.
Dean doesn't even like me. That's actually what I was calling you about.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I always take a boat past your house, you know?
Oh, yeah?
And Dean's always looking out the front window and he winks his butthole at me. Can you tell him not to do that? Because that's not cool, and sometimes I have my family with me in the boat.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to, like, I'm too embarrassed to talk to Dean because at this point I've seen his butthole a bunch.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Can you ask him though real quick?
I'm not sure who I'm talking to.
That's your neighbor, it's Brad. I live over on Street.
Yeah?
Yeah, I always take my boat past your house, and like a lot of times Dean will see me out there and he winks his butthole at me.
Oh, Dean, I'm not sure who you're talking about, Dean. I have a friend named Dean. I thought you were talking about him, but he doesn't warn.
So it's you? It's you doing it? Like if you're the only one there, like you and your wife must be.
No. What kind of thing you got?
Well, you wink your butthole to everybody? Like I figured you would know because I thought I was being targeted. That makes me feel better if you're winking your butthole to everybody.
Yeah, no, I'm not even sure who you are.
Well, can you not do that, my lord?
I don't do anything. I'm not even sure who you are. How'd you get my number?
I looked it up on the internet. I'm your neighbor.
Oh,
it's in the directory.
No, well, you're on the farm.
Yeah. Why are you winking your butthole at strangers? I don't even know you. That's weird.
I don't know who you are.
That means you shouldn't wink your butthole at me.
I'm not.
I don't even know who you are. I'm sorry.
Like, are you doing that to all your neighbors? Whatever ladies go by on a boat?
No, I think you got me mixed up with somebody else. I don't blow my horn at anybody or yell at anybody.
No, you're not yelling. You're just up at the window, like winking your butthole at everybody. That's like
no.
You think that's a sign of endearment?
That's not me. Okay. Have a good day.
No, we know it's you. Can you please not do that though? This neighborhood's so cool, you guys. Like, instead of streets, they have like these little canals of water. Freaking rich people living in their little canal neighborhoods with all their boats. It's too late, okay? Okay, Tom, I closed it. I got tired of trying to figure it out. Terry!
Yeah?
Hey, I was just yelling at my wife. Sorry about that. It's your neighbor. It's Roy.
Okay.
I'm going to be coming here tonight to retrieve my 5-gallon bucket from your yard.
Okay, so, wait, who are you?
It's Roy.
Roy.
Yeah, you know the canal? Like, right along the edge there, and like, dig down. I buried a bucket down there, like, next to the house. Between the canal and the house. I need to get that back.
I honestly, I have no problem with that. I don't know what you're talking about, but, maybe give me more information. Why would there be a bucket here?
Oh, I buried it there years ago. And it's filled up with some collector's items, and I'll be selling those soon because it's tough, you know, after all this COVID. I'm just gonna come by and get my bucket tonight, probably late at night.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, it's gonna be a little bit late at night. I'm just letting you know.
Don't come here late at night. We have Rottweilers, and I'm not having anybody on my property.
Well, no, I'm not.
Let me have the Macomb County Sheriff come.
No,
when you come, because I'm not having any.
I just need it's my property. It's a bucket full of Kenny Loggins CDs.
What's your property?
The bucket's my property. I buried it under your yard.
When did you bury it?
Like many years, like almost 15 years ago.
That's impossible because we've lived here for 25 years.
I know. I didn't tell you that I buried it there.
Okay.
I didn't even know if you'd be the same person, but it's a bucket full of Kenny Loggins CDs that I got at a bargain bin at Kmart. That's where you get Kenny Loggins CDs. Kmart. Danger Zone. Being asked to name 3 Kenny Loggins songs. Alright, Danger Zone. Hey Frank. Danger Zone, Footloose. Name one last Kenny Loggins song. Ready, set, go.
One last what?
Kenny Loggins. You know the music.
Yeah, I don't know any of it.
I told you to. Footloose. And
Footloose and... Okay,
you know,
alright.
Highway to the Danger Zone?
No.
Alright, last one. Okay, well anyway, speaking of Kenny Loggins, I'm going to be coming by your place here in a little bit. I buried a 5-gallon bucket in your backyard. No, I did. It was years ago. It was almost 15 years ago.
No, you didn't.
I did. So I'm just going to come by and dig that up tonight, and I will extra dirt with me to fill in the 5-gallon hole that I'm going to make.
You better not. I know.
What? No, I have to. My stuff's buried in your yard and I need it back.
Here for 25 years, you've never buried anything in my yard.
You wouldn't have noticed.
Anything in my backyard.
It's tax papers. I need to bury them.
I'm going to hang up now. Bye now.
Why? I'm coming tonight. Get my tax papers. Yeah, no shit, DeLorean Jackson. Street. Yeah, that guy's full of shit. Fucking. Hey, Gary. Hey, it's Brad.
From where?
Well, I saw this thing here, this sprinkler repair.
Yeah.
To get it winterized.
Absolutely.
And I noticed, like, it was a sign.
Oh, yeah.
The flyer, yeah. I saw that you posted a few of those. I ripped them down, threw them in the trash.
I posted them where?
Well, you know, you're just posting them where you weren't supposed to be posting them, so I ripped them down, threw them in the trash.
I didn't post any. Where?
These were signs like all on the highway. You shouldn't advertise like that. Quit putting your signs all along the highway like that. All along the highway.
Whoa, hold on. I never put signs on the highway.
You're putting, yeah, you were. You put those little metal spiky signs. Metal spiky signs.
No, absolutely not. No, I was not.
And they're not even that nice a sign. Like, what is this? Just a picture of your yard?
Who are you?
This is Brad.
Brad?
What do you mean? What does that matter? I live over on Morgan Street.
Because I don't know what you're talking about. I never put signs along the expressway. I don't know how you get my number.
Well, I hope you didn't, because I took them all down. I ripped them all down.
You feel good about yourself?
Yeah. And plus, guess what? I took all those little metal spiky things and I took them to the recycle place. Over $3.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah.
But it wasn't out of my money because I didn't put the signs in, so I don't know where you got my number at.
Thanks for giving me $3 for free, you fucking loser.
You are a fucking loser, you fucking asshole.
That's pretty mean. Why are you yelling at me?
Are you kidding me? You called me threatening me.
Okay, what was the threat?
And I didn't even put the signs down. I don't even know how you got my number. What's the name of my company?
Zone?
No.
Sprinkler? No. LLC.
No. You have no idea what you're talking about.
Yes, I do. I see the sign right here because it's ripped up in my trash can.
A sign?
Yeah.
Maybe a piece of paper or a sign?
Well, this was the ones I ripped up by the road were you know, those metal spiky signs, like election signs.
You're out of your mind. I paid money to put signs down in the street, so I don't even know what you're talking about.
So thank you. Yeah, and I got money for it. I got paid for taking
That's
down
great.
your...
You got $3. You want a fucking cookie?
Well, you probably...
If I did, I'd be a little bit more pissed about it.
I don't think you got it for free. Hey, you tell that bitch
I didn't pay for it.
Tell that lady in the background to shut the fuck up.
That's my fucking wife, you dumb motherfucker. You want to talk shit, I will find you.
Tell her to shut the fuck up. Tell her to butt out. Say, butt out, lady. Don't say that.
Got it.
Hey, what? What are you gonna do with it?
Alright, no, we're good.
What are you doing? Why are you saying you got it like that? Why are you sounding like all smug all of a sudden? What are you doing?
All smuggled?
What's going on?
What's smuggled?
I said smug. I said smug.
Smuggled.
What are you gonna do with my number?
Smuggled.
Gary.
Alright. Gotcha.
What are you doing with that?
Gotcha.
How do you know my name? How do you know my name?
Gotcha.
What are you gonna do?
Gotcha.
What are you and your stupid bitch gonna do to me? Oh man, he didn't even hear that. Bullshit. I forget what I was gonna say to him originally, but I noticed at the last minute that Nick could not find the address on this one, and I couldn't tell what it was. Like, it's a picture of an advertisement on a screen. It's probably just a computer screen advertisement. I just guessed he didn't wrote it. I'm surprised that one worked out. Yeah, he totally got me. Hello, Robert. No, I wouldn't just yell out my own name and you pick up. That'd be weird. This is Brad, your neighbor.
hurt?
Who are you? No, who are you?
Well, you called me first. I answered your return call.
Yeah, I answered your call. My name's Brad, and they won't tell me who you are. What are you up to? You're being kind of sketchy.
Never mind.
You're being sketchy, sir. Pretty sketchy. Art.
Hello?
Art.
Yeah,
What are you doing? Are you driving somewhere?
I am.
Where are you going?
Oh,
Oh, cool. I'm here right now.
who's that?
It's Brad, your neighbor.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm just. I'm marking some. I'm driving stakes into the ground and putting some markers. Just around the back and along the side.
for my house or yours?
Yeah, the back of your house. I'm putting down markers, and then I'm putting them in the backyard and along the side of the yard, but not in the front.
What for?
It's radar. But I'll probably be pretty low.
Okay, I'm almost home. I'll be there in a few minutes.
My measurements. I'm probably gonna go on home because I gotta get everything set up.
Okay.
I've got roll and everything.
And what'd you lose?
Well, I buried a bucket in your yard, maybe just 15 or 20 years ago.
Okay.
What would 2.3 be?
All right. Well, like I say, I'll be there in a little while. I'll make the seat tell you the one.
Can you not park in the driveway?
I have to.
Why?
Where am I gonna park?
What?
My girlfriend's coming over too. She's gonna have to park.
Can you guys just park in the street tonight?
I asked her to.
Okay. Can you do it too? It's gonna be state. We don't have a big driveway.
Okay. So, Brad, why don't you have the driveway?
And plus our garage is. Brad.
Oh, are you Brad? You're the one that used to live next door there.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's why I buried several buckets on your property. I know I found one, but there's several others, and I think the GPS coordinates are off.
But you're the one that lives down the street there.
Yeah, but I used to live next door.
Right. Yeah. Well, don't go digging up my driveway too.
Well, no, I'm not going to dig up the driveway. I'm just trying to find the buckets because I have buckets. One of them's filled with tax papers. I have like a bucket of compact disc. What?
I'm going to be parking in my driveway.
No, just my brother's mom is.
Yeah, I'm going to park in my driveway.
She's got a Lincoln. She's going to be parking her Lincoln in your driveway. So tell your girlfriend to park in the street.
No, I'm not going to my girlfriend.
Well, you said earlier. Why has that changed all of a sudden?
Because, I don't know. I don't know. All of a sudden you come in there and
it'll just be convenient. I gotta be looking for this bucket with the ground penetrating radar.
Don't do it tonight. Do it another night.
No, it has to be tonight.
Well, then they can't do it tonight.
Because I'm borrowing the ground penetrating radar from somebody.
Yeah, not tonight.
It's basically gonna be tomorrow. It's gonna be after midnight, so it's not technically tonight.
I don't want my driveway dug up.
No, I'm not gonna dig the driveway up. Not the driveway, just the backyard and the side yard. That's all. Also, why is your girlfriend coming over? Like, have you really lost the romance already? Why don't you take her out? You know? You know what I mean? Hello? Hello? Hell, I forgot his name. Oh, it's Art. I had a call in, but I was talking to him. Oh, that was Mildred's idea, the ground penetrating radar thing. Mildred every day. Thanks for that. What's your idea, Tim, about following a trail of dryer sheets? I've got to use that. Alright, this one says 3 a.m. bat watching on it, so that's what I'm going to do. Do some bat watching. Oh, David? Yeah. Are you in the car? What are you doing? Where are you going? Who's this? Oh, this is Roy and your neighbor. Roy? Yeah. Your neighbor? Yeah. I don't have a neighbor, Roy. Well, no, I just stay here on the couch. Next door, we have the big pond in the back. That's Mark. Yeah. Who is it? Well, I live with Mark now. Okay. And he wanted me to go over here and pooping in the pond, because that's his pond. Even on your property. Pooping in his pond? Yeah. That's not cool. I don't know what you're talking about. I've never gone over to Mark's property. No, you've been doing it for a while. Mark's told me it's something you always do. Just let you know, you need to stop coming over here and pooping in his pond. That's not your property to poop on. I have no idea what you're talking about. I've never done anything on Mark's property. Well, ever. Well, no, you keep pooping. I know it seems harmless, but that kind of just messes up the ecosystem in the pond. Can you please just not be pooping in there? Alright, who is this? Kind of disgusting, to be honest.
Oh, fuck.
This is Roy. Next door. Roy, okay. Roy next door. Roy and Mark. Yeah, okay. Alright. Will you turn off your damn chime? Jeez, shut your door. That's so loud over the phone. Alright, what can I do for you? I noticed you didn't shut it off yet. I don't even know who you are or what you want. It's Roy. Roy over at Mark's house. Can you please just stop pooping over here? Poop on your own property. What are you talking about? You keep... I'm making it perfectly clear. You're not allowed to come over here and poop in Mark's pond. I've never even been in Mark's pond. I know you don't go in the pond, but you keep pooping in it. And in the same place. You know what I'm talking about. Quit pretending that you don't. Are you over there right now? Yeah. Are you over there right now? Yes, of course I am. And Mark's upset. He didn't want me to call you. I'm not calling. This is ridiculous. I'm over here every day, pooping in our ponds. Right. What? In the backyard. It's kind of late. I don't have pants on. It's because you're full of shit. None of this is even true. Yes, it is. I talk to Martin semi-regularly. So does my wife. He's afraid of you. He's afraid of you. He's afraid of you. It's absolutely not true. He thinks you're crazy. You come over here all the time and you poop in his pond. Why would a sane person do that? Then why wouldn't I talk to him? He'd be like, yeah, let me come over and help you with my tractor. Because he's afraid of you. He thinks you're like a serial killer or something. All right. Don't see why you gotta poop in his pond like that. Alright. Why don't you do your own pond and poop in there? I don't know. Why don't you get a pond? I have a pond. You're living on your buddy's couch. I live here, so this is basically my pond too. So you're coming over here and pooping in my pond.
It's not. You're over there mooching off your friend.
I'm not mooching. I'm doing work for him.
Okay.
You don't know what you're talking about. You need to shut the fuck up. Stay out of our yard. We're gonna put up a fence.
So if I call Mark right now, he's gonna say, "Yeah, that's my buddy Roy."
Yeah, he will. Call him right now while I'm on. You'll see. I bet you.
All right.
How much you want to bet?
B, my dog. Nobody's come over and pooped in Mark's pond.
Yeah, that's what someone would say if they were doing that, because you're ashamed. I get it, but can you just stop? I mean, go poop in the woods or something. Go, like,
Why don't you call the police? Why don't you call the police and tell them that I'm trespassing?
Because it's not a police matter. It's not a police matter. It's not a police matter. It's a friendly neighborhood thing. You know, just please stop doing it.
How long have you been shacking up on your buddy's couch?
It's none of your business.
Okay.
But you know what? I don't like looking out the window and seeing you pooping out there. It's just disgusting.
All right, now I know you're full of it. Because if I was to poop in Mark's pond, I wouldn't do it in the middle of the day. So.
So now you're planning it out. All of a sudden you have a plan about pooping in Mark's pond.
Hey.
A little weird, isn't it? What?
Hey, buddy.
What?
I'm standing in the backyard. Why don't you just come on over here?
No, because I don't have pants on. I'm not going to come out with no pants, you fucking weirdo.
There's not even anybody at Mark's house. He's not even home.
I have the lights off.
Mark's not home.
I know Mark's not here. And I don't have a car, so you wouldn't know that I'm here. Get out of our fucking yard. Stay away from the pond.
All right.
I'm gonna
give Mark a call.
Go back. Go call him right now.
All right.
Like, call him. Put him on three-way.
You didn't even know that was Mark's name until I said it.
I did too.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. What are you talking about?
I'm at your neighbor's house. The guy with the pond.
Yeah.
I go, who?
I was trying to be
the guy with the pond.
Well, you're like a serial killer. I didn't think you remember names. I thought you were just like too emotionally detached. There he goes. I'm gonna put traps in my yard. Oh, I wish I had Mark's number. Hey, look, it's a Mark. It's a different Mark though. I just looked. Why am I asking them if they've heard the dogs barking, Tim? Why? Why am I doing it?
What the fuck?
Mark.
Okay.
Do you hear the dogs barking?
Dude, what?
You hear those dogs barking outside?
No, who is this?
Are they over at your house? This is Roy, your neighbor. Why are those dogs all barking?
Okay.
I don't hear no dogs, Roy.
Yeah, I don't hear him on the phone. It sounds like you got him to shut up because the phone rings. Can you keep your dogs down? Or is that just one of you over there, like just making barking sounds in our general direction?
Who's Roy? What street do you live on, Roy?
A few streets over. Oh, come on. I was looking up the streets. Why'd you do that? Oh God. Well, it's not me. Like Tim Riggy's the psychic, not me. Oh, it's mighty funny how the dogs just started barking again right after you hung up on me. You need to shut those dogs up, sir. We know it's coming from your house.
What's your address?
I was trying to tell you and you hung up on me. Why'd you hang up on me?
What's your address?
Well, now why do you need that? Like, is it just going to make you hang up on me again?
You harassing me, sir?
No, I'm not harassing you. I live like 2 blocks over. I'm on Tipperary Drive.
Tipperary Drive?
Yeah.
I don't have a dog.
Oh, you don't? Okay, it must be somebody else. I'm sorry. I feel so silly now. Hey, why don't you tell that lady to shut up? Tell her to just shut up.
Excuse me?
Because you're on the phone, and then she's like, just keeps chiming in. Please tell her to shut up.
Excuse me.
Okay, well, it wasn't even your dog, so I'm sorry for the call.
How did you get my number?
I looked it up on the internet.
Why are you calling on my address?
Because I thought it was your dog. Because you look like the type of person that would own that kind of dog, that would have that kind of a bark.
What kind of dog?
I don't know what dogs are called. Was it border collie or something? I don't know.
Very rude for you to call me at my residence.
Yeah, well, no, I'm really sorry. I thought it was your dog, but you guys don't even have a dog. I mean,
I don't have a dog.
Not counting your wife. Am I right?
What's your last name, Roy?
Gerbel?
Pardon me?
Gerbel. Gerbel?
Zerbel.
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks for shutting her up, though. Thank you for that. All right. I saw Devin's wow in the chat room, and that made me stop talking. Good job, Devin. You made me stammer. All right, one more prank. One more call. One more call, and then it's over. I'm done. Let's try Amy. One more answer. Ah, Snappy. Look at that, everybody. Snappy's here for the after show. Yeah, I wanted to do garbage exchange, Tim. That was my plan. But then it was somebody in the boonies. And, there was no way that the garbage... Hello?
Hello?
Brian.
Yeah?
It's your neighbor. It's Brad.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Not much. I was doing the garbage exchange, and I noticed you didn't have anything in your trash can.
Yeah?
How come it's empty?
Not quite sure what you're talking about.
Well, I was trying to do the garbage exchange. I was gonna put my garbage in your can and take.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, but there's nothing in there.
That's crazy. I guess I don't have anything to give you then.
Okay. Well, you're being a little weird about it. I was just trying to find out what's going on. If you don't want to participate anymore.
Okay. Well, we don't have to do the garbage exchange then.
Well, I don't like your attitude.
Well, I guess it's kind of a shitty thing.
Hold on,
I guess I'm not being a good neighbor.
Shh. There's a call coming in.
Work.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Oh, sorry, Brian hung up. Oh, crap. Ma'am? Hello?
Yes, I'm
hey,
here.
Okay, sorry. Brian hung up, and then that made your line go silent, and I didn't know what was going on. Sorry.
Okay. Well, I just had a missed call from this number, so I was just calling you back.
Oh, who is this?
Stephanie?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're the one, I was gonna, I followed a trail of dryer sheets, and it led me to your house. Are you guys littering or something?
Oh. Yeah. I always litter my dryer sheets.
That's pretty weird. It led me right to you. It's obviously you doing it. Why don't you stop?
Well, it's weird that you picked them up.
Well, I was trying to be a good neighbor, so you're welcome.
Oh, well, thank you. But my dryer sheets are biodegradable, so you weren't really doing anything.
Shit. I guess I'll just throw them back out there.
There you go.
In your yard.
Time for nothing. Yep.
You completely ruined the last prank of the show, ma'am.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's fine.
Okay.
Kind of sad about it, but whatever.
That's it? You were just telling me you picked up my dryer sheets?
Yeah, I guess where could that prank call possibly have gone? It wasn't really my fault. I kind of blame Tim Riggy for that. Fucking Tim.
Okay.
Tim! The stupid idea.
No, I would really believe you if you picked up my beer cans, but...
All right, why don't you shut up?
My dryer
Just hang up the phone. Shut up.
my dryer sheets?
Go away.
Really?
Hang up the phone. Hang it up.
You guys could come up with something better than that.
It's Tim. What do you have to say for yourself, Tim? He's not even saying anything.
Yeah.
Asshole.
Where's Brian?
Your attitude's biodegradable.
Well, that's a good thing, isn't it?
I think so. That's what Devin said. She didn't say it like it was an insult.
Oh, okay. Where's Brian?
Brian?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, did he call back, or where are we at with Brian?
Oh, I thought you were putting Brian on. Silly me.
Why would I have Brian's number?
I don't know. Do you want to call him back? Hold on.
Okay.
What was her name? You're Stephanie, right?
Yep.
Okay.
your shoe?
He kind of did, but my driver's sheets are biodegradable, so.
Oh, so they don't go in the trash then?
Right.
That's shitty. That's crazy.
This is Brian.
Who's this?
Oh, we were waiting for you to call back because you hung up.
No, why would I call back?
All right, well, thank you for picking up my trash. I really appreciate it, you guys, and have a good night.
Have a fantastic day.
Yeah, bye.
Hey, Dwight, it's Anthony. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Hey. I actually just wanted to let you know that your videos... Oh, fuck. I messed it up. Oh, don't play this one, Dwight. I'm sorry. But if you do play it, tell my dad that the Dodgers suck. So you don't
Dodgers suck, Dad.
Play videos, you play the podcast.
You're a real disappointment as a father, liking those Dodgers.
Great work.
Thanks.
Keep on laughing.
Thank you.
Making me laugh.
What were you going to say about the videos, though? I'm so confused. I blame those shitty Dodgers.
Hey, so I left my last voicemail I left. It was actually asking about a prank call that I had submitted to you about a parrot. I did end up finding it. In that specific episode, it had you talking to someone called Mead Skelton. And I was wondering if you know what happened to the guy. His channel doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, really?
I also have another question. Do you
Probably because it's full of, like, racist stuff, I guess. I didn't know his channel disappeared. I'm a little behind on the Distorted Views show, so if his channel disappeared, I have not heard about it. I need to get over to Distorted Views, see what's going on.
There's this YouTuber that does videos on, like, random shit, and one of them was about
that guy.
This guy that made this OS called Temple OS. He was just some racist, like, weird guy that
like me
would, like, fight with people on Reddit and stuff, and but anyways, random question, but have you heard of him?
No.
Anyways, other than that, have a good day.
Not heard of that guy, nope. Just because I love Mead doesn't mean I love every other racist YouTuber out there. Mead is the only racist for me.
Hey, Roy, that Frank Tsubishi guy had me thinking of a recent recipient's blick. You know, his car, his blick. Yeah, you need to remind people whenever it comes up that it rhymes with quick. It's not pronounced Buick. The name of the car is the model.
Okay.
It's not a Buick. It's a blick.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all. You're pronouncing it wrong. That's anyway. I hope you're having a good night.
Sorry about that. You know me, I'm always pronouncing things wrong on this show.
Hey, Brad, this is 901, formerly MC. I know it's confusing. Love you. I want to say...
Everybody does it. They change their names constantly on this thing.
Ask, on August 4th, 2014, Indoor Pools episode, Flutterpie sent you Bitcoins, you said, and you sort of made fun of Bitcoin, and then you said you transferred them to dollars to pay for your hosting. How many Bitcoins, or what's the fraction of a Bitcoin that he sent you in 2014? Just curious.
How much what?
How much did you lose? I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. But I'm curious. How much did he send you? Just to see how much that would be today.
I don't know. Like, I don't remember how many Bitcoins I had in 2014. But I used to accept Bitcoin sometimes for donations or for merchandise and stuff. I was trying to make that work, but it's such a pain in the ass to do it that I didn't really get into it, I guess. But occasionally I would get, $5 in Bitcoin. And I do remember losing a few times because people would send me money and then I'd go to look at it and Bitcoin had gone down in value. So I'd only gotten half the price for my stickers or something.
This is like 3 years ago. Bitcoin was like 50-something thousand, or 58 or 60 grand. It was like 60,000 3 years ago, I think. Now it's like 100,000.
But then several times I would hear about Bitcoin being really valuable and I'd go into my balance and I'd have like $80 or something. And that happened several times. I remember one time I had over $100, and every time I would have that kind of money, I would just immediately spend it because I doubted it was going to last very long. I didn't see Bitcoin going up to $45,000 or anything crazy like that back then.
It was, yeah, I was a little high. 45,000. Should have kept that Bitcoin, Brad.
So, yeah, I guess you could say I basically lost millions of dollars. If only I'd taken Bitcoin seriously.
Yep.
Brad,
You fucking
I'm
idiot.
calling you out, Brad. It's Dirty
No,
Dr. Dan.
sorry, I love you. I love you. You're not an idiot. You
On
fucking
the
idiot.
interwebs, on the email, I said, hey, let me make you a kick-ass Phone Losers themed scooter to give away for only $6,000. And you're like, no, I don't have $6,000. But Brad, where's the $54,000 a month you get from your Patreon? According to the Patreon, Brad.
Right.
Brad, stop wasting your money on Phone Losers themed crack and buy Phone Losers themed scooter.
Okay.
Do it with me. Doesn't everyone think that
Don't you all want
cool
a PLA themed scooter? Wouldn't that be great, everybody?
There was a giveaway for a $6,000 Phone Losers themed sidewalk scooter that could go 120 kilometers an hour.
Yeah, I could kill somebody and then there'll be a lawsuit.
I could do that for you, Brad. Brad, give me a chance, Brad.
I don't think I like Dirty Dr. Dan anymore. He used to be an okay person, but now he seems like kind of a dick.
Hey, Brad. It's Crimson.
Hey.
So I have
what have you got to sell me?
Little scavenger hunt for all the Phone Losers fans out there.
Okay.
Go to New York City, take the Staten Island Ferry, free, the Staten Island Ferry. You know,
Is this just a roundabout way of bragging that you went to New York City recently?
Obviously. Then, when you're about to get back on to the ferry going back to Manhattan, there's a big room. And guess what's there, Brad? Guess what?
Big room.
Guess what? There's payphones. There's so many payphones, Brad.
Shit.
Well,
They all work?
There's a good, like, 3, 4, 5, 6, something like that.
That's nice.
And, oh my God. Make sure you bring change, because I was just there and I forgot my change, Brad.
Shit.
I was going to leave this voicemail from the Staten Island Ferry. Remember I did that a few years ago?
Did they work?
Oh man.
No, I don't remember that.
Listen, if anybody gets there and actually leaves a voicemail from a Staten Island Ferry,
how am I going to know?
Guess what they'll get, Brad? Guess what?
A scooter.
A
$6,000 scooter.
A payphone. Guess what they'll get, Brad? Guess what?
What?
You'll get 300 points, and you will be king of voicemails for an entire
Holy
week.
shit.
King of voicemails and 300.
All right, bye, Crimson. I like 300 points better than that dumb $6,000 scooter. I'm taking the points.
Hello there, Brad. This is Gomez from Staten Island.
Oh, great.
I was wondering if it would be possible to hear a snippet of audio of what it would sound like to actually talk to you.
Are you calling from the payphones on the ferry by chance? Because if so, you've gotten 300 points and you're king of the voicemails.
Because I know on our end...
Oh, God, I didn't hear anything you just said. Hold on, let me go back a little bit.
Hear a snippet of audio of what it would sound like to actually talk to Carol on the phone. Because I know on our end, it's easy to laugh at people who are believing that she's real with our HD audio quality and everything.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
wondering
true.
maybe if over crappy cell phone quality, Carol sounds like a real woman. Yeah, that's my spiel. Thank you for everything that you do.
I don't even know what you're asking. You're a snippet of audio of what it's like to actually talk to Carol. I mean, I've done that before, remember? You know how you can do this yourself. Find a Carol prank call over on YouTube and play that prank call while you hold your cell phone up and record yourself a voicemail message. You'll hear what Carol sounds like to other people. It's basically the same. She still sounds really fake.
Hey, Brad. Chris from Sioux City, Iowa.
Hey.
You ever have this weird thing, like, with name associations? Like, for instance, every Jim you meet, they're kind of moody, or every Kevin you meet, they're kind of a dick.
Every Chad is like a fuck up.
I was wondering if there's any name associations with people that don't pick up the phone. Like, if there's maybe you call a bunch of Dons, they don't ever seem to answer. I don't know, just something weird.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That lady's such a Don about not answering her phone. I tried to call my friend Jeff, and he's being a total Jeff about answering. Fucking Jeff. I don't think I have noticed that, because most people don't pick up the phone. Like, half the people I call don't answer, so it's pretty common. I don't think I can blame no answers on any one person's name.
Why was the phone busy? Why were you calling? It's a sick hotline. I thought you should take this more seriously. Look, it's a public phone. What do you want me to say? You could have simply said there was a fat woman on it, and that's why I took you a minute to get off. Now, that's the point. I had the attention. I was going to... I met a man with 7 wives. Every wife had 7 sacks, every sack had 7 cats, and every cat had 7 kids, and every kid's a cat and sack wife. How are you going to say that? How many people are going to say that shit? My number is 555. No, you gotta wait. Say it again.
All right, that's a really hilarious bit that you're playing on the voicemail line.
Hey, Roy, Dirty Dangler 420 here.
Hey,
is there a way to record both sides of a conversation just from an Android phone?
Yes.
Because I'm a dirty hobo. Okay. And I ain't got the money for equipment. That'd be helpful. You can get little suggestions on a little start.
I don't know. I used to use some software. I think it was called Cube or something, but there's a bunch of them. And if any of you know which thing to use, you should comment and tell this guy, Mr. Dangler or whatever, tell him what to use for Android. I don't remember what the thing was that I used. I feel like it was called Cube something, but I'm probably wrong. Don't trust me. It recorded both sides of the conversation, though, and I know I had one other piece of software that did that, but then I've used other pieces of software, and those have let me down. Like, I thought I was recording both sides. It was only picking up one side. So just start getting software and trying it out, see if it works. That's what you do. There's a bunch of them out there, a lot of subscriptions for it, but I wasn't paid any money for this one that I had, or maybe I paid for the app. I don't remember. That was the last voicemail, though. Those were some great voicemails. I really enjoyed them. So the show's over. Thank you, Dick Tree, KC Deeply, Unavailable Restaurant, Shrink Man, and Haylin 6969. Thanks everybody for listening. I'm going to end the show with some Schaefer the Dark Lord, who is on tour right now. I mentioned this in the Hobo Sub the other day. He's on tour with MC Lars, MC Frontalot, and Megaran. I saw them live a few weeks ago. They are amazing. Go check out one of their shows if this is your kind of thing.
Which came first, the chicken or the egg, and which is worse? A good idea that fails or a bad one with legs? Rhymes.org. Yeah, he's making a list. What?
Just tell Frank to go pound some sand, maybe up his ass.
Yeah, but he's not doing the right thing. He's telling you to come out, like bring the truck out of here. I'll buy it, and then he's like, "Fuck you."
He just said he didn't have enough money. He said, "I'll give you 800." So I said, "No, you won't."
800.
He said, "But I'll give you 800 now, and I'll give you some more money in a month." I said, "We don't do business otherwise."
Less than half. Tell him you're not a damn car dealership.
I don't use language either. I try to go to church and try to live right. That's the thing to do.
Well, use the word darn then. Say you're not a darn car dealership. I ain't no darn car dealership. That's how you say it.
Well, I've used the word darn before. I used to be a car dealer a long time ago, too.
Oh, yeah. It's hard not to use the word darn when you're a car dealer.
But, you know.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm no dealer now. I just do the right thing. Don't get angry at nobody no more.
Okay. That's good. That's a good way to live. Hey, what's the address of that guy that was trying to lowball you on the truck? What's his address? I'm going to go visit him.
I don't have his address. I just knew where he lived. They wanted me to bring the car. When he was going to give me all.
Describe to me how to get there. I'm going to drive right now. I'm going to start driving. Tell me where to go. I'm going to go visit him. I'm going to yell at him.
I ain't no use doing that.
I'm going to do it. I won't tell him it's from you. It'll just be it'll be a completely unrelated face punching.
I should be home about 30, 40 minutes. No bad luck. You know where I live.
Yeah, can I go over there and just wait?
Sir?
Do you have any food?
Do I have any food? Not much.
Do you have any food outside? Do you have chickens or something? Can I get some chicken?
I got some chickens I'm picking to sell.
No. Well, no, just to eat.
Oh, no, so I don't raise chicken to eat, no.
I'll make some chicken for you. Hey, I'll have chicken ready for you when you get home.
No, that's okay.
All right, I won't do that. Yeah, I know, but I could just make it all out in the yard where the chickens are.
In the back there, and that rooster fight. Anybody got it in that pen, but I got it locked. So
I'm bigger than him. I'm bigger than him.
I think you are, but I'll tell you one thing.
You wait.
He'll tear you up. You believe that?
I'll show him a thing or two.
Okay. I gotta get off you because I gotta get down here.
That's disgusting, sir. Sir, TMI.
I'm heading down here. Look at these two lawnmowers.
All right, I love you.
All right, have a good one now.
All right, I'll see you soon. I love you.
Yeah. You guys got
Oh, yeah. Just say it back though, otherwise you're making it weird. I love you.
I love you too. I don't know you, but I love everybody. I'm Christian. I try to do the right thing for life.
I love you more than you love me. Mwah.
Okay. Bye now.
All right, bye. He loves me, everyone. Yay.
Yo.
Hey, I was calling for Lucille. Where is she?
She stepped out for a minute. I'm her younger son. May I take a message for her?
Oh, I was calling about her flat screen.
Oh, yes.
Oh, no, honey.
Everything, it works perfectly good and everything. It just needs a wall mount.
Hey, it's Lucille, honey. I'm on the phone upstairs. You can hang up. I've got this. Yeah, I've got the flat screen. It's $50.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, no. You can go ahead and hang up. I've got this now. I'm on the extension upstairs, honey. It's Lucille. It's Mom.
I'm her younger son.
Okay, I'm just calling to ask about the flat screen. That's all. I don't want any trouble. I'm just, or one of you.
Oh, no, you're good. I was confusing between two people at one time.
Oh well, I think Lucille picked up the phone. That's the name that's on here.
Yeah. This is Lucille. I'm on the extension phone. I've got the 42-inch flat screen.
Okay. So is the other guy selling it, or what's going on? Hello?
I'm confused. Well, I'm her younger son, the one that's at the house now with the TV.
Yeah, that's nice, honey. Okay, like I don't need your help selling this. I've got it. Okay, I'll sell this flat screen.
I got a 42-inch flat screen on my floor. I don't need to buy it.
No, that 42-inch flat screen is mine. Like I get the money for that.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I was confused.
I don't want to get in between you two guys. I'm just trying to buy a TV. That's all. Is that your mom on the phone?
Yeah. This is his mom.
I don't know who's on the other end because I only got one call, which is whoever was talking to me now, which is Spring Miller's PA.
Yeah. No, I'm on the extension phone, honey. It's Lucille.
So do you have anything else for sale besides the flat screen? Hello? 'Cause I thought it said something about mowers.
Yeah, I have a mower, yes.
Yeah, we got 2 mowers. Those are $50 each.
Do they run and everything? Hello? Sir? Ma'am?
Yes, they run, yes.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Like, can one of you decide who's going to talk over there?
Well, I'm just listening. I'm just trying to figure out the conversation, that's all.
Okay, well, why? Like, I think it's Lucille selling everything.
Yeah,
I'm her youngest son. I'm at the house, but I didn't know my mother's talking to you on the phone.
Yeah, I'm on the phone. I'm on the extension, idiot. You are the dumbest son. I am so sick of your shit.
Don't you be calling me stupid, son. You can hang up and lose this damn number. How about that one?
Hey, I'm your mother.
That took a while.
Hello.
Hey, Woody.
Hey.
It's Carol.
Who's this?
It's Carol. Carol Gersberms.
I don't know you.
Yeah, I don't know you either. I was just calling about the MHC.
Excuse me?
I was calling about the sunglasses.
Oh, sold those.
I know. We bought them from you.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there's a weird issue with them. Did you get rid of these because of some problems you're having with them?
No. I got another pair.
The same pair? Did they do the same thing?
Apparently, yeah.
Well, I mean, are they haunted? Like, what's going on with them? Because, like, when we put these on, we can see things that aren't there. Like,
I have no idea.
No matter which one of us
put it on. We can see like these weird like alien looking things or zombies. I don't know what they are.
I don't know. Just not. They weren't like that when I bought them.
Well, they're that now, and I don't appreciate it. And I feel like we should get a refund because we just want to have the sun not in our eyes. We don't need to be seeing ghosts and zombies and stuff.
I never had that problem.
Well, it seems a bit unusual. Like as soon as you sell them, like they start showing things. Like even on TV, like they turned on CNN and instead of CNN it says obey.
Here's what you do: bring them back, and I'll give you money.
It's weird, sir. Like, what are you trying to pull here? Are you some sort of wizard?
No, I said bring the glasses back, and I'll pay you for them.
We watched the movie, The Sixth Sense with Bruce Willis, and I wore the glasses while I was watching it, and it has a completely different ending now.
Okay, bring the glasses back, and I'll give you your money back.
Okay, but it ruined the movie for me. Like, I don't think I can ever watch The Sixth Sense again. Sixth Sense. What?
What was your name again?
This is Carol.
I didn't sell them to a Carol.
I know, you didn't sell them to me. But, like, it doesn't matter which one of us in our family put them on. Whenever we put the glasses on, we can see weird shit through them.
What was the name of the person I sold them to?
You don't even remember?
No, I do not.
That's weird. This seems like some kind of a scam, because,
It's not a scam.
Well, it seems like a scam.
Bring them back.
It's $75 for sunglasses, and our vision's blocked by all these zombies and shit. I can't drive with this.
First of all, hey, listen to me. First of all, they didn't pay me $75, okay?
I know.
I don't know what you're trying to pull. What time did they pick them up?
Look, we can't even drive. How are we supposed to drive there with these? Because if I put the sunglasses on, I'm going to see a bunch of weird shit in the road. I'm probably going to get in a wreck.
Both of you can't wear them at the same time.
Yeah, but the one the driving's going to wear them. Because it's sunny out today.
Well, what is your name again? Karen?
Carol Gersperms. And I've already called the FDA. This is a violation of Spectral Wiretapping Act of 1960.
Okay, go ahead. I don't care.
You're in big trouble selling glasses like this.
Look, lady, I didn't sell them for $75.
I didn't say that you did, but that's what you asked for them. Like you're trying to get $75 out of people for ghost glasses.
No, I didn't sell them for $75.
Who's that in the background? You tell that person in the background just to shut up.
There's nobody in the background.
I heard someone in the background.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, now you got someone feeding.
Do me a favor, bring them on back.
No. I'm going to sell them to the Inquirer. They probably love sunglasses with proof of ghosts. And I'm going to tell them who sold them to me, too. All right. Well, they make you hear stuff, too. Awesome.